Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
This is Jeremy, go by just Jeremy on Discord. Welcome back, Parker.
Thank you.
This is Aaron, I go by Treffenwood on Discord.
Not Tex. Don't go by Tex.
I do not.
Okay. All right.
When is he going by Tex? When does that happen?
I believe his mom said it was when he was in his early teens. I don't know. We got to stay at Aaron's mother's house. Aaron made the horrible mistake of letting me meet his parents.
Oh my
I was taking
gosh.
pictures of photos of him. It was great.
Oh, I love everything about Tex.
Aaron's asleep in one of the rooms. I'm just wandering the house taking pictures of pictures.
That was the worst idea ever. You shouldn't let that happen.
That's okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I had some terrible teenage nicknames. I only had one teenage nickname, but it was terrible
was it
as well.
Scoot?
You see Scoot?
Yeah, was it Scoot?
No, you're actually really close though.
I know, I'm really good at this.
You're really close. I didn't give it myself, of course. It was one day one kid called me this as I walked into class, and it stuck hard for a calendar year.
Skeeter.
You're not. You're getting further away there, actually.
Pickle fucker.
You know what? How did you get it so
wow,
quickly?
we got it in one. Yeah. All right. So, quick announcements. Parker, you're down to 3,105 probationary episodes. Aaron decided to give you a bonus 100 for sleeping 100 minutes consecutively. Mm-hmm. So that was good on you. Conveniently, that 100 minutes was our podcast, unfortunately. So that's going to equate to some probation.
The next one, we SWAT you. We will have to SWAT.
I told you.
We will SWAT you.
Oh shit! Don't. That's a great joke, but don't make that joke.
Please don't swat me. I want the police to know that I did not want to be swatted. Unfortunately, we live in a world now where I actually had to call the police and have them send out an officer so I could explain to them that someone threatened to do something like swatting to my business. And so that if they get a call about some sort of terrorist type activity happening, it is in fact not happening. And they should just send a normal squad car by.
Wow.
But anyway, so that's how that goes.
Do they have like a file or something that they...
Yeah, they just have an instant...
They
they call it an information report. And so basically saying that someone has made illegitimate threats to this point, and if something similar to this is to happen and they check our file, they're like, oh, hey, this is probably a hoax, so they will approach a little more cautiously than they would in another situation.
Could you imagine in a time before computers when all that shit had to be like written down on paper? How would anybody have remembered or known where to get all that information?
It just speeds up logistics. Like, let's say one person is now able to do the dispatch work of what used to be a team of people, because you would have people doing stuff like, hey, pull the file on this address, like blah, blah, blah. And like while cars are en route, and they're all doing that shit. Anyway. Yeah. Anybody interested? We have some affiliated partners, Muse on Minis and Baron of Dice, as well as our Patreon link in the show notes. Do we have any news today? I don't think we do. Just kidding. No. We do.
Oh, there's one. Go.
We do. Parker, hit him with it.
Oh, we should do some news.
News.
Hey, news! Yes. News!
Smooth transition, everybody. Good job.
Yeah.
You're really doing it.
Oh man, it's like butter. Right back in the saddle.
Yeah. So in the form of news today, we have a from the forums, emergency from the forums.
Oh. I'm
our
really
best
excited.
friend, strong friend of the show, Nagoldar, has decided to grace us with his presence once again. Let me pull up. Yeah, I deleted all that stuff. Hold on. So anyway, they made an official ruling on Red Skull 3 and some of his rules. Let me just pull up the list. Here we go. When Red Skull 3 uses, power is only for the one who rules. There are a few restrictions. One, he must spend at least one power when benefiting from the superpower, regardless of which of the types of abilities he is using. If he's paying for an attack, due to the attack restriction section in Step 3, Appendix A, he must have enough power on his card to use the attack. So you could not do his spender for Reality Bows to Me unless you already had 4 power on your card when you declared the action. I kind of expected that one to go that way, so that's not really a surprise. And then next up is Red Skull can only split power between himself and one other character, not multiple other characters. Superpowers such as Root do not affect this superpower because it's innate and not active, which is what Root does. I don't know how that was even a question. And then finally, we have leaderships are not attacks or superpowers, so they cannot benefit from this innate superpower. I think that was in reference to, could he use other people's power to pay for his leadership? That way he didn't take a damage. But anyway, what do you guys think about the Red Skull 3 rulings?
I was very, very happy that they applied rules as written in their answer. And by that I mean requiring him to have the full power for the spender as required for the timing chart, even though no one was playing it that way. So whether that's good or bad, I can't really comment on. But I really like the fact that they actually applied the rules.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I think they just made it more consistent with other things in the game. I always appreciate when they don't make every model an exception, because then you have to go, well, everybody works like this except this. Then I like that it's make it more consistent, not less consistent, and I think that's what they did here.
Yeah. Funny irony here is I think a lot of people were upset with Warfair Weekend and the way Tim ruled this superpower, and he was actually pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely, the way everyone wanted it to be ruled, would have been more powerful than this, so it's probably good we didn't allow that.
I think anybody who really, really loved this power and was trying to abuse it on turn 1 with, him being able to teleport people while he only had one power, they're going to be a little disappointed by this. Because if you activate like a Lockjaw or somebody double energizes themselves with a power a la Mordo or something like that, he won't be able to take it all and immediately teleport someone because he won't have the 4 power himself.
In that example, I think almost every single time they're planning on using the 1 power he already had. So, because Mordo can't actually do Master of the Occult twice, he can only do it once, so he can only get to 3 on his own. But yes, that is generally correct, is that people were trying to find ways to do that. But I think in most examples, they were spending his power. I don't like that he's required to spend a power on all of them, but...
Wait, because what you just read, it sounds like if he doesn't have 4 power, he can't use the teleport.
No, the spender.
It's only... the timing chart is only for attacks.
When you go to make an attack action, there's a clause in the attack step saying that you cannot choose an attack you cannot pay for. So, and the reason it's in there is to prevent weird stuff from happening. That's kind of like obvious in the hindsight, but it is a rule. So, like, you couldn't say, for example, walk up somebody with Logan and say Tornado Claw, because then they would respond as if you were going to make a Tornado Claw, and then that randomly within the attack step you go, oh, never mind, I don't have the power for it. And so it would just be weird that you were legally allowed to do it, and so you'd have to just stop repeatedly and back up, and it'd be really awkward and weird. So they just made a rule saying you can't do that. But because of that, you have situations like Cyclops leadership and No Matter the Cost and this all have some interesting interactions because of that. And so, like, No Matter the Cost has to say reduce the cost of the attack instead of saying gain power to pay for the attack or anything like that. It has to be very specific.
I see. I just misheard you, I think, whenever you were saying that he needed to have enough power. I didn't hear for just attack.
He can
I thought I also
100% on the first turn still do the range 3 scalpel.
But it'll take 1 power now.
He has to spend 1, and then he'll have to get 3 power from one other person, or some combination between them.
Right. Well, that's not unreasonable. I don't think that's unreasonable.
So the issue I have is I think it's actually pretty costly, considering his own leadership is not a may, it's a must lose a power. He can't choose to take damage for it. There's a lot of things now that he has to spend 1 power for, and considering he doesn't have his own action economy, and his attack is good, but it's not like crazy good for like generating power. It doesn't have like sap power or anything. He's gonna run into a lot of situations where it's like, well, I can only do 2 things. So I only have 2 power, so I can't do my spender. And if I do the scalpel, I have to spend 1 power on myself, and then I can't even use, like, if I use my leadership, now I've lost the other power, so I can't even do my throw. And so it's just kind of weird. I don't know. I think it takes him from reasonably good to just okay. I don't know. We'll see in the long run, but I don't think he has enough power to perform. I think his kit is not priced assuming these rules were in place. Like, all of his shit is so expensive.
I think you exactly hit the point that I was thinking the entire time y'all were talking, is that when he came out the box, I think he was supposed to work as everyone was thinking, and then everyone read it and goes, wait, this is weird. It probably shouldn't work that way. Rules is written, it changes, and now it's this weird, awkward stage, which now he feels kind of like just a weird version of an expensive, almost like a Cyclops-ish kind of model, where it's like he should be good, but you can't actually get power because you have to have power to do things, and I don't know.
You mean Cyclops 1? You mean the pre-nerf?
Yeah,
Cyclops.
original Cyclops.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. Like, this version...
Just to be fair, yeah, anyone who has access to Scalpel is not bad for 4 points. Like, that is an incredibly powerful effect, and it needs to be respected. But it's just kind of awkward. I think really what you're going to see him do is you'll have somebody like Mordo, or I don't know, there's a ton of people that can get 3 power on the first turn automatically, like even Vision. But Mordo's in faction. So you can move up Mordo, Master the Occult, and for the rest of the round, your opponent can't leave any models on the center line, because you can just double move to them with Red Skull, ending within 3 of Mordo, and place them 3 back towards the rest of your list. And in Cabal, that's a death sentence, because you have so many scary models just sitting on your back line. So you have to be really careful with stuff like that. I do think that he is... We'll see, but I don't think he's very good. I think all of the rulings they made make sense, especially rules as written as their primary standpoint, because the rule says when he is spending power. So they're basically saying the fact that he spent a power is a trigger to the ability, which is why they're saying he has to spend 1. So I get it. I just think it's kind of like nitpicky rules as written, because by that justification, he would have already spent for the ability when the ability triggers. It's just kind of weird.
It's very clumsy. Anyway,
yeah, it does seem like it was poor. It's not poorly worded. It's just like, I expected it not to be ruled this way. I expected the minimum power for his spender, because that's just a core rule. But the other thing, the having to spend power thing, and the can only split some of the power, that kind of surprised me. For it being a new core set model, and you having to explain this to new players that don't understand these intricacies of the timing chart, it's just very weird that they would make that a core box model now. It's just very awkward and clunky. So I don't think that was their intent when they made it. Anyway,
I have 2 more actual rules discussions.
Hit me with it.
1, if you declare an attack that is a spender, and let's say I'm Beta Ray Bill, and I declare Summon the Storm into CGR, who is life-savered by Gwen, do I spend the 2 power for Summon the Storm, yes or no? Parker.
I've always played it and thought it was no. You do not spend the power for it.
Can you say it again?
I'm Beta Ray Bill. I spend 2 power for Summon the Storm into Ghost Rider, Cosmic Ghost Rider. He is life-savered by Gwen, and at the end of life-saver, he is out of range. Mm-hmm. Have I or have I not spent 2 power for this attack?
You have not.
I have not. Jeremy, do you concur?
That's what I have most recently understood it to be.
You are all correct. Now, number 2, I'm Agent Venom. I'm playing Symbiote Special Forces, which is a Beam 3 7-dice physical attack. I target 1 model, Cosmic Ghost Rider. He is life-savered out of range. Have I spent the 4 power for Symbiote Special Forces or not?
No. I cannot wait for the answer to this, though.
So he was pulled out of the beam? Is that true?
Yeah, there's only one model in the beam.
Oh my god. I'm guessing the wording is different for a beam. Go ahead. I'm
You're
guessing
right.
you pay for
You
it.
fucking
the
spend the power before
a beam
you
is
put
different.
the beam down.
Yep.
Where is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, is this a rules forum thing?
It is.
And it's just not in the core rulebook?
So they reference the core rulebook, which I still don't understand.
Would you mind posting a link to this thread that you're apparently reading?
Yeah. Give me a second.
I would absolutely love to read this and then rant about it.
Yeah, because it says something.
That's why I bring it up right now. So I give you all those options.
Goldar is about to get kick banned from our Discord. I'm just saying.
It's something along the lines of, right, like you pay for it, you get the beam. You see how many models are in the beam. If there's 0 models, you get an action refunded. Kind of thing, right? Like it doesn't say it's canceled or something.
So yeah, I'm just gonna while he's getting.
No, it's the timing of when you pay for it that's different. I'm gonna put this in podcast, and you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna just read the basic timing chart to people without all the minutia details. So step 1 is choose attack. That's which attack you're allowed to do, and it says specifically you can only do one that you can currently pay the power cost for. Then 2 is declare target. A lot of stuff happens in that step, including lifesaver. Step 3 is pay power. Step 4 is create attack dice pool. So that's why the power doesn't get spent on those. And so he sent me this. Chuck G asked, I saw a lot of different threads, but most talked about the power spent on things prior to attack sequencing. It goes on about that. And then Theros says, if the attack is not a beam or area attack, the power isn't spent until step 3, as you mentioned. Since the attack is ended before you get to this step, you don't end up spending the power. If the attack is a beam or an area attack, the timing steps follow a slightly different order. In that case, the power spent. I wonder if they're referring to specifically you did a beam, because obviously when you do a beam or an area attack, it breaks up the attacks into separate actions, basically. Or, separate attack sequences. So let's say I beamed 3 people.
Sure, that makes sense.
Right.
But his answer there does not tell me...
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm explaining it to the listeners.
Ooh,
so
okay.
if we finish the first attack, then we get to the second attack, and then you lifesaver out the second person who's no longer targeted by the attack, that would make sense that you've already spent the power, because you don't spend the power in the repeated steps. Now, do you have a link to the actual thread, or
there's something before that that's irrelevant? All you need to know is the last line there. So when I read beam attacks in the rulebook, it talks about how to place a beam. Then it says to use the attack, pay the power cost once, and then make a series of attacks targeting each enemy character that is in the attacker's line of sight and in range. So it's that sentence from the rulebook saying you pay the power cost and then make a series of attacks.
Page 16.
Yep. So I love the fact that I played this game for years, think myself to be relatively rules proficient, and totally would have got that question wrong on an exam.
Well, I mean, so that's the question is, like, are you trying to do it correct, or are you trying to do it the way people play it? Because the way people play it, that never happens.
Sure, but now that I know what the right rule is.
That is fucking brutal. Okay, yeah.
Now, I have a question.
Go ahead.
And this is definitely the updated rulebook, because this has a picture of new Doc Ock in it.
Yep. Parker?
Now, I have a question. If you let's say, escort to safety someone out from under the beam, is sideways, and they're still in range of the attack, does that count?
No. The ruler is defined as the range.
Got it. So you'd have to pull them away out of the range of the beam.
Out of the
Yep.
You'd have to pull it out from underneath the physical template. You don't need to get out of range 3. You just need to get out of the beam.
So technically, Parker, if you ever are declaring a beam attack, you should hold the beam template above the area while you're continuing to roll dice against all the models, in case someone wants to lifesaver someone out later.
Correct. You need to maintain the area of the beam the entire time. And the example they use in the rulebook is you place the template physically overlapping their bases, which kind of works as long as the beam doesn't cover any of the actual models.
Right, sure. That's never happened.
What you could actually do is borrow like your opponent's range 2 or 3 and prop it up like a house of cards above the play space, which would be cute, but don't do that.
Yeah. Okay, so that was one. I have another one. This one I heard tangentially on another cast. I can't remember which one it is, so I'm sorry.
It's definitely not Muse, that's all I know.
You are correct. It was not Muse. Apparently there was a ruling that got posted and then deleted. It had to do with Ultron's drones. So this is spicy, I think. So if you are playing Ultron 2, you're allowed to, let's say you activate Ultron. Then someone else on your team destroys terrain. You bring back the grunts. Question for someone, do the grunts come back with an activated token?
I'm willing to bet they do not.
They do not. When do I actually know that. I knew this. When do the grunts get an activated token?
Ooh, I know this.
Okay. Anyone else?
Two times. One, when they finish activating by taking their second action, and two, when their leader is dazed.
Incorrect on both. Sorry, incorrect on the second.
What?
They get an activated token when they are the last model not activated on your side. So, if you, as the Ultron 2 player, choose to bring in your drones after Ultron has activated, you have just added a character to your squad with an unactivated token and probably given away priority.
Wait, what?
So the losing priority thing is actually possible with a lot of different situations with grunts involved. I don't think you can lose prio because of it unless your opponent is an idiot.
Yeah, you just added a model.
Hold on. All right, so grunts characters. I'm reading it now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was useless.
It's the fourth paragraph from the
bullet
bottom.
Point.
Fourth bullet from the bottom.
I was reading a whole different paragraph.
Sure, I'll read that for our listeners. If at the start of a player's turn, all non-grunt characters that a player controls have activated tokens, all grunt characters they control gain an activated token, which is what you just said.
Yeah.
But then how do you determine priority? Is the last person to place an activated token, or is it the last person to have an activation?
Or is the last person to take a turn? That's what I'm checking.
Yeah, take a turn is what I mean, yeah. Because do you even get a turn legally if it's at the end of the activation phase and you place an activation
because
token?
You have to, at the start of a player's turn, they gain an activated token. That means it is their turn. And again, they talked about this for like 3 seconds on the cast. They referenced it. They didn't go into detail like we are here. Mm-hmm. So I think there will be a forthcoming ruling, right? But technically, rules as written right now, if you place a grunt into play...
priority is determined in the order in which players take turns. Priority is tracked during we use a priority token. Player who has priority token, priority for the round. That's fucking worthless, thank you. It's got to be under activating characters then, which was page 12. Cleanup phase. Draw characters activated the round. Player scored victory points. Player that activated the last character in the activation phase has priority. They pass it to their opponent. So it's not about taking a turn, it's about activating a character. And so the argument would have to be that putting the check mark on the grunts, who definitely did not activate, counts as an activation.
That may have been what the ruling was. Which again was deleted.
So if the answer was yes or no, that would have been bad. So activating character. Each character may have 2 actions when it activates. I would argue that if you didn't get your actions, you didn't activate. But who the fuck knows what Naguldar thinks, so...
Anyway, I thought I would bring that up as an interesting tidbit. That Ultron 2 players should keep their ears to the grindstones about.
It does say, so after a character has made all of its actions and used any superpowers, interactive abilities, other rules it wishes, its activation ends. Place the activated token on its stack card. The character with an activated token cannot be chosen to activate. Yeah. Man, I really can't see that getting ruled that way, but I guess we'll see. I'm happy that the terminology they use is last player to activate a character and not just to take a turn, because that'd be dumb. Because the weird thing that can happen is, like, you could pass the turn to somebody having activation left, and you could play, like, here's a good example. So let's say you pass the turn to me, your last character activate has 1 hit point left. So on my turn, before you get to take the final activation, because I'm fully activated, I played You Know Who I Am, I throw him into a dumpster. He takes 1 damage and dazes. You're the last player to activate a character. I get prio.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
You can prevent your opponent from activating a model without losing prio.
No. If you throw me into a dumpster, I'm dazed.
Yeah.
Before
I didn't activate a model.
Before you put the check mark on your activated model.
I'm not activating a model. I'm playing a tactics card. I have 0 models to activate. They've all activated, but you can play Do You Know Who I Am,
I understand. You're playing an out of activation tactics card?
Yeah, I'm just playing an active card, which is totally legal to do on my turn, and I didn't activate a model. You activated the last model. So even though I took a turn after you activated a model, I didn't activate anyone, and now all models have activated, the turn ends, or the round ends.
I now want to do this.
Yeah, and so you can cost them an activation without giving up prio.
That's spicy.
With what card? With what card?
Do you know who I am? Any card that can cause damage
Wakanda
as
Forever.
an active. Wakanda Forever is a good example. Yeah.
Siege of Darkness. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So you could force... Okay, run this by me again.
Okay, so here I'm going to lay out the board state because it's a little complicated. So let's say I'm playing Brotherhood. I've got Magneto and Jugs left, and my opponent has 4 models. So I've activated my 2 models. So I go Magneto, their guy, Jugs, their guy. They've got 2 models left, let's say. Mm-hmm. He activates one of them and passes priority back to me, because that's how the game works. I get a turn, but I have no models legally to activate, so I can play a tactics card and then pass, or do anything else I'm normally allowed to do. During that turn, I choose to play Do You Know Who I Am, and throw his last model that isn't dazed, or anything really, and cause his last remaining model to be dazed. I didn't activate any models, and he now has no models left to activate, so I get the last turn, but I didn't activate a character during that turn. So he's the one the last activated. I get priority back.
Yeah, I've done that before with Winter Soldier.
Well, that happens on their turn, though.
Right, like during their turn. Oh, no, you're saying it happens on still your turn. Yeah.
No, you could take a turn, the last turn of the round, and not lose prio.
Got it.
You just have to not activate a model during that turn. Including, let's say you have a model left to activate. I could throw my own model, or throw a size 4-piece train into my own model, dazing it before I've activated it. Mm-hmm. And as long as they daze, they don't get to activate, I get prio back.
That's true.
That's basically what I did to Zach, which we'll talk about later. Okay, anybody else got some fun rules trash to talk about?
I had no idea there was so much fun rules trash to talk about today.
I do like fun rules trash.
Mm-hmm. I'll be excited telling everybody who's playing Red Skull 3 tomorrow that they're playing it wrong.
Everyone knows. I posted it.
Okay, good.
Okay, so it's going to get us out of news. So let's go to current events. Let me get this out of my way. So first up, we've got currently playing. Aaron, what are you currently playing?
My last 4 games are Spider Foes, Criminals, Avengers, and Wakanda. So, fuck if I know.
Pick one. Pick one.
Foes, last game.
Are you excited about Foes, or are you going to keep playing them?
No, I want to play some Steve 3. I've got some characters to knock out, so I'm not playing anything specific right now. Although I did play Doc Ock Leadership. That was kind of sweet. Until he left the game turn 3. Until then, it was pretty rad. I liked it.
He got unalived.
He definitely got unalived on Intrusion's virus. There was not a lot of safe places to go hide. He did build her bitch slap Ghost Rider into oblivion. Anyway.
All right. Parker, what have you been playing?
I got to play almost every Avengers leader except Sam in the afternoon. And I found out they're still good. They're still pretty boring, but they're still good. But I switched hard, pivoted while you guys were away at tournament. I played a bunch of my Defenders / Convocation list, and it is a lot of fun. I'm actually just kind of buckling down on it for the time being. It has a really interesting switch plan. I really like lists that actually use both affiliations in different situations, as opposed to just having 2 affiliations available that you never really want to play one because you're always planning on one. It really does switch super hard between the 2, and I really enjoy that. It's been a ton of fun. It also utilizes something that we came up on this cast, Brandon, I think in episode 2 or 3. It was just me and you, which was the Ghost Rider.
I was there. Don't even start that shit.
Were you there for Ghost Rider Ronin? Was that a thing?
I was there after episode 1.
Literally, wow.
You were there after episode 1? Wow.
I was not there.
No, he was there
0.
for episode 1. We did episode 0 and said Jeremy will be on next week. And then he's been on since. And I think he's only missed 3 episodes the whole time.
Oh, no.
And you've missed 30.
I did not say because Jeremy is such a flake. I just said I remember there being more episodes with just me and you.
No, it was literally just one, and it was just us rambling for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
maybe it's also...
You'll
It was
always be
also
able
like
to skip
the-
over some people, but I will not allow it.
Yeah.
No, that's
Also,
true.
the reason I said wow was not that you didn't think he was on the podcast, is that you think he doesn't remember that list. He played that list so much more than you did, because you were still in the not going to the game store phase at that point. It was me, him, and Jason were the only 3 people playing the game, because we were in the middle of COVID.
Ran him out of the game.
And we literally ran Jason out of the game with that list.
With
That
the
was the
Ghost
Bang
Rider
Brothers.
Ronin stuff.
Yeah. I think we played it in Spider-Foes. At least I think I played it in Spider-Foes mostly, because I liked having Venom in there as well.
Mhm.
So like it was like Venom, Goblin, Ronin, and who the fuck am I forgetting? CGR? No.
Well, it would have been regular Ghost Rider.
Regular Ghost Rider, yeah. But
So,
anyway, yeah, it was just pile effects on people. I have a picture on my phone from Jason playing Magneto against me. I had 8 conditions on him.
Oh my god.
Hold on, I have to scroll. I have to scroll all the way up. All right, go ahead.
it's funny. So basically, I rediscovered that formula. After I got done with the list, I looked at it. I was like, wait a minute, I've been to this place before. I recognize this. And so mine is also Venom, Ronin, Ghost Rider, Daredevil. And as it turns out, when you get a giant reroll on your hitbacks, things go down hard. Ronin really likes the Defender's leadership a lot. Because his attacks are really strong, but he likes a little help. And yeah, it has been a ton of fun to hit people back and them not get power for it. And so far, so really good. And the nice thing is, I'm actually not planning on it. That is for if somebody forces me to go straight down the middle, I just hard switch to Daredevil and the Defenders, and it costs me 3 models. And the rest of the 7 models are really focused on Convocation and my own game plan. So it's been a really awesome ability to switch hit. I've really liked this is my favorite kind of list I've played for a while, where I didn't feel like I was just crossing my fingers and hoping to get the right thing. I'm gonna keep playing it because I want to find the scenario combination that it really doesn't like, because so far I felt like I can play into anything and I wasn't losing at list selection, which is cool.
Okay, that's cool. Jeremy, have you found your way in the forest of bad lists?
I think there's plenty of bad lists to find still. I don't think I found them all.
You're going to step on every rake on the way there, though.
I have to, yes. Played a bunch of Brotherhood this weekend. Played both levels. I played the Mystique fail lists. I lost all my Mystique games, and I won all of my Magneto games, I think, except for one. Horrible
I can remember
game.
one you didn't win.
Was that even a game?
No, it was not.
We call that
So
Looking at Dinosaurs is the name of that game.
You won all your Max games. That's all we take.
Staring into the sun for hours. That's what it was like. But no, played a bunch of Brotherhood.
I win all my Mags games.
It went very well as a palate cleanser, and now I'm bringing Midnight Suns, and I'm actually going to focus on them a bit. It actually plays like I think I like to play more than almost any of the other stuff, which is Bump allows me to fuck up and then fix my errors, which I like that in a game. Like, I like to be able to have that at hand. So that's where I'm going right now.
Cool. Very nice. Lately, I've been kind of all over the place. I played a little bit of Convocation before we left for Warfare. Played totally different stuff at Warfare, and then now that we got back, I played one game with Cabal. I'm not sure I'm going to stick with Cabal. I think I'm switching it up tomorrow, and I'm kind of excited to play Defenders tomorrow. So I built my Defenders list, and I did that earlier on Discord with some people, and I'm pretty excited. I think it's going to be a good change up from what I've been playing lately. But it's basically, the plan is I've got my Midnight Suns Immortal Hulk list as like the cornerstone that I plan on playing whenever it's viable. And then the rest of the list is just generic Defenders, which I think is fun. And so, much like Parker was saying earlier, it's got a nice pivot where I've got, like scary list over here and then like utility stuff elsewhere. It's still pretty raw. But,
I don't see how Defenders isn't good. Like, just being able to reroll all your dice is got to be good.
Yeah, I think that Daredevil leadership is highly overrated right now, but it's backed up by the fact that Daredevil is a good 4-point model, so it's fine.
What's really cool, I think any leader that uses their own leadership well, I love that. I think it's super efficient. So that's one of the, right, like Cable. You said Cable.
Cable uses his own leadership well.
Yeah, he'll use it every turn. Steve 1, he uses his leadership really well. Not on his own turn, not so much, but he'll get a lot of work over the course of a game on their turn. And the fact that Daredevil has infinite attack backs on his turn, like if he gets attacked twice, he'll just attack you twice back if he doesn't get downed. It's crazy. Yeah. I looked in the game, I couldn't find one. Can anybody think of another model that gets to attack back infinitely? Everybody else says once per turn.
There is not one.
Yeah, he's the only one. And let me tell you, the fact that you don't have to do damage to him, he just gets to attack back. It happens way more than it should because it's his builder, so he'll just keep chaining enough damage to keep doing it. It's
the unfortunate problem with Daredevil is that it's very easy to figure out how to kill him. Is you just throw shit at him. You do not attack him.
Right.
Anyway.
That's definitely why I toyed. Other people were trying to help me with the list, and every model they came up with was a model that you could attack, and I was like, well, then that's a terrible idea because everybody will just attack that model. You really want to surround him with other stuff that's equally hard to attack, or else everyone just ignores Daredevil.
The problem with Daredevil is that he's going to run out of fucking power.
I have not found that yet.
Really?
But maybe he will. Also, with his speed,
I just generally remember, okay, it's Daredevil. Pay attention, and then all of a sudden I look down, it's like turn 2 or 3, and all my models are clustered together, and I was like, oh no, this is not good. And then he fucking does his thing on me one time, and everybody's dead.
Yeah. I guess I'll cover my list real quick. I had it pulled up. Ooh, excuse me. So it's Blade, Immortal Hulk is like the core for the Suns list, obviously. And it's only planned to play Hulk. I'm not planning on playing Suns any other time. I might find that it's more viable, but that's not my plan. Doctor Strange without the stone. Ghost Rider, ASM. And then Daredevil, Iron Fist, Punisher, Valkyrie, Wong. I'm playing minimum scoring, but I've got Deadly Meteors instead of Demons, because I don't like a lot of my models getting incinerated with these guys. A lot of them have pretty premium defense. So I did pay to flips over Demons. Also, I've got my boy Punisher ready to go. No longer unaffiliated.
Now that he put the shirt on.
He put the uniform on. He's back in from the cold.
He's a Marvel Knight. Get him in there.
Get him. I like to think it's only because Daredevil Season 2 was really Punisher Season 1. It's like why he's in Defenders.
It's an amazing.
He's like, wait, we got Daredevil and Punisher.
The first 6 episodes. For some reason, the last 4 are about Elektra. Ugh.
Gross. Anyway.
Gross.
It is. Gross. It was gross. It was
pretty. It's pretty gross. Yeah. All right. So, do we want to talk about Warfare Weekend a little bit? Just a little bit, just some quick recaps of stuff that happened.
I remember some things.
I remember some things too.
I think we should go per event per person, if that makes sense. Like I don't think we should do a round 1, round 2, round 3.
No. I
only remember certain things, like a dying star.
Yeah, I am not going to recap specific games. I'm just going to call out fun anecdotes that happened throughout the weekend.
Sounds great.
So first of all, I made a prediction that I writ in stone with my magical stone writing ink, that me and Jeremy would have the most fun in the team tournament, and that came to fruition real fast. I remember there was many a times we were just sitting there cackling in between rounds, like we're having so much fun.
It was so stupid.
Jeremy's come up in scheme due. I'm just gonna say spoiler.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
Dude,
fine.
I caught both barrels on the way back.
Our wings did not melt until the next day.
I got shot in the face.
Yeah, first round we played against criminals. I was like, uh-oh, like this might be going sideways real fast. Because it's like, dude, 24 points of criminals is a lot of fucking criminals. Oh no, that was round 2, I think. Anyway, yeah, it was a lot of fun. We played leaderless all day. We did play Cabal every round. But yeah, we out of our 14 models, I think we only played 5. Yeah, we brought 9 extra models to a team tournament. That was pretty cute.
It's fine.
And none of them were leaders. It was so fun.
When you're looking at Red Skull 1, 2, and 3, and you want to play 2 with Dark Reign, there's only one option.
We did not bring Red Skull 1. In hindsight, that was a mistake. We definitely should have brought Red Skull 1. We brought Red Skull 3. That was the wrong Red Skull.
It seemed okay
it was
at the
fun,
time.
though. Well, at the time, we were like, well, we can't play Red Skull 1 and 2, so why would we ever play Red Skull 1? And then, in hindsight, putting Red Skull 3 in was quite stupid in the same manner.
Yeah.
We were just like, well, we need a 4-pointer. And we were like, well, obviously Cosmic Invigoration's bad, right? That was our reasoning. So, yeah, that was a stupid thing. I will say that Bob was super clutch several times. Bob was a complete shithead. Parker, what was the most damage you think I dealt with a single attack throughout the tournaments? So it was a total of 8 rounds. I don't know if you know, but I like playing big stuff that does lots of damage. So we're not talking about hits rolled.
Oh.
Damage tokens placed on a card due to an attack.
Oh, so it'd have to be...
And we're not counting AoE
health.
Bullshit, single attack.
Okay, so if it's, I don't know, something like a Hulk, it could be, above 10, right? But,
theoretically, it could be 20. That would be the most possible in the game, is 20 at a single go.
I'm going to say 11.
Okay.
I'm going to say you got an 11.
You were a little high, but it was a very good guess. It was 10.
Oh.
Now, do you think I only dealt 10 damage one time? Or do you think I dealt damage multiple times?
Multiple times.
It was multiple times. The first time, it was me and Jeremy were doing some spicy stuff, and we played Dark Reign on a enemy CGR and shot him with a Bob Rocket. Got 11 hits, which only managed to deal 8 damage because he had damage on him already. And then the explosion killed Star-Lord with 2 damage, so that was 10. Second time was against Kenny, and I pen and stared his Hulk and dealt 10 damage and killed him to the box.
Whew, that was a hot
also
one.
Quite fun.
That was hot.
That was another hot one.
Came in hot.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
I played...
Not Kenny.
I played 8 games over the weekend, and I dropped in the final round of the tournament to go watch a Chiefs game, which I do not regret in the least. And I played 1 leader, in which I only used 1 leadership trigger because I forgot my leadership the entire game because I forgot that leaders were a thing. And so...
You played an Aaron.
Overrated.
Aaron was your leader.
Yeah. 7 of my 8 games were Cabal affiliated, 7 of them were leaderless, and I won 7 of them. So it went pretty well.
Nice.
Jeremy, do you want to finish up where I started? Did I give you the promised land? Did I give you the funnest tournament you played in?
The team one was really fun, yeah.
Nice. So clearly the next day was even more fun.
No, it was not. Shout out to our buddy Tim, who refused to single tap the do not pair friends on that motherfucking app.
It was far too difficult. Do you know how hard it is to press that button? It's very hard.
And of all of us, I'm the one who gets paired against Kenny. And I've played Kenny a lot. And I've played Kenny against that list a lot. And it is horrible. It is horrible to play against. Especially with a list that I'm playing Brotherhood. Like, I haven't played it in forever, and this is like my, 4th time playing it of the series of playing it this time. I told him setting up, I was like, this is probably your game. Let's play it out. I'm like, and he's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like,
he's doing a Parker fake apologize when in his head he's just going, I love this.
Oh, I know. He's like, this is, I'm so glad I got an easy win for my first one. I'm like, fuck you, man.
He's got like smile ear to ear and he's chuckling while he says, dude, I'm so sorry. Like,
so I'm looking at my list, I'm looking at my cards, and I'm like, okay, I can play Magneto, I can play Colossus. Colossus can't actually be pulled, so he can't be incinerated. What else did I have? I had another model in there that couldn't be, he couldn't mess. Oh, Juggernaut. So I had models that could kind of handle Cosmic a little bit. So the first turn, he rolls, I believe, 4 power, of fucking course.
Mm.
I place my piece of terrain for Magneto up for just 1 short move. That's all I have to do. I'm going to make 1 short move, and that's the only thing we're going to do. So I put my guy I put Magneto up short, very short. I don't try to press it at all. Behind the thing so he can't drag me. And I have cover against bullshit. So he's going to have to do a full thing and be able to attack me maybe once. Everybody else is kind of hanging back. I'm not going to let him shoot anybody else. I'm like, he'll give Magneto some power. It'll be fine. He comes up first turn, moves up, places, shoots me. One shot, kills Magneto. Dead. Full to dead. One shot. I was like, well, I instantly see red. I'm like, I almost black out of rage. I already knew the game was not going to be good. Like, I knew I was probably going to lose anyway. But I'm like, how's come this is like this? I don't understand. So he plays his turn.
That you kicked like 9 puppies on the way to the game hall that day. And you're just getting all the karma.
So I'm like, okay. Keep it together. I still have good models. I'm like, I've got an angry Magneto, shitloads of power. I'm behind cover. I've got I've got things I can do. So Kenny's starting with priority. Spenders into Magneto. One shots him on the backside. I no longer have a Magneto. I have yet to activate, or I've yet to actually attack with Magneto.
On the weekend.
That's the first time I put Magneto on the board. I have not attacked with him. So I go to start. I'm like, at this point, if I woke up with a fistful of hair and like 3 people were down on the ground and like I was headed to the hospital, like I would not have been shocked at all. I was so mad. And Kenny's just like, man, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like, I can't even, I just can't. So I claw my way back and I have like one opportunity, and I believe it was either Sabretooth or Rogue or something. And I had to just do a little bit of damage. I do like 0 several times. I do nothing back. It was just completely moot, and it was so fucking stupid. Because every time I had an opportunity to do something, I did nothing. It was one of those games. I got completely trashed, thrown in the garbage, and just spit out the backside of it. And it was like, what am I even doing here? So that was my first game. I took like a loss, and like after that, I just didn't get it no more. Like, I'm like, okay, well, it's you either play CGR or I'm not sure what you're doing right now in this meta. So I was pretty upset. I'll go ahead and follow up with stories and stuff. I've got further things, but that was the rage moment of the weekend.
Yeah, I know. I was only one table to your left, so I remember a lot of this game. Aaron, how did your weekend go?
My weekend was pretty good. I want to give a quick shout out to Dustin, my teammate from California, for the team tournament. We had a great time trying to do degenerate Wakandan things. Generally failing, but enjoying ourselves. We got a bye, ended up going 2-1 in our other 2 games. Losing to the behemoth that is Kenny and Thanos CGR.
The behemoth. Yeah. The Kraken.
Yeah, exactly. All the opponents all weekend long were pretty awesome. So
hold on a second. So you got the bye and lost to Kenny in the team tournament?
Yes.
And you placed higher than Kenny?
True statement.
Oh,
wow.
Shit.
No wonder he was upset he got third.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so just based on tie breaks, we had a 3-1 record. Kenny and Ryan had a 3-1 record. But due to tie breaks, we took second and they took third, even though they beat us in head-to-head.
That is crazy.
That's a perfect system. Shut up.
Yeah.
That's
again,
perfect.
Yeah.
I am a big proponent of we all took 3-1, we're all tied for second, but I understand if they have trophies to give out, they can't just erase third and put tied for second on there, so whatever.
Yeah, in the convention level, when you're literally playing for like plaques and trophies, it's kind of frustrating. It's like, I literally beat that guy. like there's no more direct tiebreaker than heads up.
Nope, got to play Vince and Nick from Chicago, Taco Truck Land in round 2. That was really interesting and fun. So shout out to those guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it for the teams stuff. During the regular event, I am getting really good at making lists on Wednesday, never playing them, and then taking them to a con and doing well. So nice. We're going to call that my MO from now on.
And by Wednesday, you mean on the podcast with me?
On the podcast live on Wednesday, yes.
Nice.
And then, like I said, taking it to a con.
Cool.
Big picture, I was playing Wakanda, trying to do Spirit of Wakanda jank. I got, quote-unquote, hosed with scenario all weekend. I won Prio 3 times, which is great out of 5. But I flipped scrolls every time I chose Prio, which is really bad for trying to do Quicksilver, Spirit of Wakanda, go up an extract jank. The other 2 are the 5 extracts in my list.
Have you considered not playing scrolls?
Sure, there's not another great one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even Montesi might be better than scrolls. I don't know.
You're dead to me.
So just steal their back one. Wait, you can literally steal their back one though, can't you?
With
Quicksilver,
Montesi, yes. No, only if they don't pick it up.
Okay.
Quicksilver can't do.
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people wouldn't because they would just assume it was safe because it's their fucking back E. Why would it not be safe? I think a lot of people wouldn't even think about it.
But what else are they gonna do, right?
Move to a blue. Depends on the blues. If it's a double E, then yeah, it doesn't matter because
it might. I wasn't willing to hope my opponent misplays. Otherwise, my jank is just dead in the water.
Well, especially if it was pay to flip, like Mutant Madman. Their first activation is going to be to flip one of the blues and stand on it. That way, you can't take it.
True. Anyway,
niche stuff.
Yeah, so I played Scrolls 3 times, and then I played Researcher and Paranoia, none of which were conducive to what I wanted to do.
Isn't it amazing how there's only 3 fucking even numbered extracts and they you hit fucking every single one of them all weekend.
Was glorious. Mm-hmm. So anyway, because of that, I only played the Advanced R&D Spirit of Wakanda once. And that was in Game 4 when I went up against Malekith, iHulk, Mordo team on Researcher. And I did that because I wanted Bill to have 4 power so I could go last, double move, throw one of his big guys off the Researcher, and score it. I did end up using Spirit of Wakanda twice to heal a stagger or remove a stagger off a CGR. So that was kind of interesting. All these niche cases for cards that you don't think you're going to use, and all of a sudden you have options. Options and flexibility are good.
That's a classic point of knowing your cards. Is very important because people forget that there's even an option on Spirit of Wakanda.
Yeah. Nope, did that twice and did the power once. If anyone listened to last cast, they'll know that my goal with this list was to try to make CGR a scenario piece. That really only happened once, and it was Game 2 against Nick, again from Chicago. Nick was a great opponent, quiet and reserved, but just the way he reminded me of myself a little bit in terms of how I play, and I really respected that. But he played Webs at 20. And my turn 3 was the backbreaking turn where CGR shook stagger, moved, placed, and triple pulled his people off of points. It was just a huge swing and not allowing him to get back into the game, and all his people were A, not scoring, and B, not where they wanted to be. Mm-hmm. My CGR threw 1 attack that entire game, which is not how most people play CGR. But again, if you look at CGR as either a pre-nerf Mal, just go murder the world, sure, that can be successful. Or you can look at CGR as a unkillable Gwen with infinite power.
I was going to say pre-nerf Thanos, but sure.
And obviously the power is not quite infinite. He's not unkillable, but you get the juxtaposition. Mm-hmm. So
I will say I think that it's definitely very viable in Wakandan specifically. And the thing I like about it is that Wakandans have the back pocket, I'll just play attrition instead, even though they've got a lot of control pieces, because they just have a naturally high attrition as well. I think that's kind of been lost with Web Warriors, at least the way I play them, where if they're playing maximum scenario, they lose a lot of their official fighting potential, because their models are generally do one or the other, not both.
That's true. So having played Wakanda, I'll give some quick synopsis. I don't think they're A+. They're really squishy. They've got some good scenario and control. I guess you play Wakanda for 2 reasons competitively, beyond the fact that you just like them. One is the turn 1 jank. If you can manage to get an F extract with Quicksilver, Toad, and Prio, it's baller. It is significant tempo that not a lot of other lists can do. because you also at the same time threaten your opponent if they come to steal your Fs because you're powered up, ready to pounce, charge, etc. And the second reason is for the Wakanda Forever clapback turn. Other than that, Wakanda is pretty vanilla and dies to a little more than a stiff win, but doesn't take much.
How do you feel about Black Panther in this meta? Like, is he still really strong, or is he just kind of...
He's the only model I played all 6 games, or all 5 games of the individual tournament. So I do think he is very good. In fact, I am going to say strong, yes. So the part of his kit that I got the most game-winning use out of was his spender, which I don't even remember what it's called. But it has the explosive force trigger, right? So, like in the game against the Bob with Immortal Hulk on his back point, I just rolled 8 dice with full rerolls, got the wild, he recaled it. I had 1 skull and a crit, so I rolled 8 dice again, got the wild again, to push him off of what was a combined researcher on his back riot's point. Like, so it was worth 3 points to be able to push unlimited size with the spender.
Kinetic burst.
There you go, kinetic burst.
Yeah, that thing's unusually powerful. You're not.
Well, again, all I want is the push, right? So.
Well, it's the explosive force trigger. There's only, I think, 3 attacks in the game that have it, and one of them is New Ultra.
So yeah, to answer your question, I do think Panther still has a role in almost any list in the meta. Relatively hard to kill. Auto push on the builder. What I just talked about on the spender. Yeah. Your counts and a long move. Like the whole package is there.
Yeah, it's a premium 4.
Yeah, I mean, in a world where the forces keep getting better, he seems like he's one of the few that holds up.
Yep. I played M'Baku's leadership in 4 of the 5 games, so I still like that leadership better than Black Panther. And the only reason I didn't take it in the 5th one is because I ended up playing into Kenny's Guardians, and I did not want to take M'Baku into that matchup, so I was forced to run Panther. And he's not going to get his clap back. So I chose to run Killmonger, who can stay safer at a distance because of his ability to charge and get back into the fight. Talk about that game for like 10 seconds. It was Fisk Scrolls, and he was running Thanos CGR Star-Lord Drax. At the end of the first turn, the board looked like a nuclear weapon had gone off in the direct center of it. And by that I mean there were no models anywhere within range 5 of the center. It was crazy. Like, we both hard flanked. And after that, obviously, you can't ignore... I mean, we both completely ignored Fisk. No one was on a single Fisk point. It was a really interesting, cagey placement game. Until about round 3, when we all converged onto the middle and just started laying haymakers into each other. And I ended up pulling that one out 16-15 by the skin of my teeth.
That's the Kenny game.
That's the Kenny game, yep.
It was really good to see that finally you decided to use Black Panther's leadership and it really bailed you out.
Uh-huh. Or had 0 impact on the game.
I think I know what I said.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I liked Wakanda. It was great. Had a fun time. Ended up winning the tournament. And I would do it again.
I do want to say I was really proud of how the Kansas City meta in general played over the weekend. Just quick standings. In the team tournament, Kansas City took 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. And in the qualifier, we took 1st and 2nd. So I was pretty happy. I think it's a good sign that our community is growing and getting better.
Yeah, I think I forgot to put in my last 2 games.
You did. You would have obviously placed higher if you had reported your fucking games. I can't believe that. I've never.
And then my strength of schedule was better than everyone else's.
It's so bad.
So
it's because it's average opponent. So Kenny is averaged for the guy who got 2nd is averaged for 40% of your opponents instead of 20%.
And the other guy was he only lost 1 game.
Yeah.
Then I got a buy, which we know buys what they're worth. Like, I don't know, they're like a premium diamond.
It doesn't affect your strength schedule at all. That's what average strength schedule means.
No. That's why Kenny got 3rd in the team tournament.
Kenny didn't get the buy. Aaron did.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's why they got the 2nd. That's what I'm saying. It's worth a lot.
It's not. Now, it is interesting because that means that Aaron played against less opponents, and so his average opponent score, he played against better people. because he didn't play against anybody the first round. So like when everybody else was playing against 0-1s, he played nothing, and so the people he did play against. If you're going to get the bye, it's much better to get it in the first round than the last round.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was busy watching the Chiefs game, man. I had to run back and forth.
Yeah, that's what it was. Speaking of Chiefs game, it was a super good game to watch. At least the first half was. The second half got a little weird. There's a lot of weird penalties happening back and forth, but that's a story for a different day. All right, so topic today, Jeremy, you wanted to talk about how to deal with problematic characters.
I thought that seemed like a good topic for now. A lot of things are popping up in and out.
Mm-hmm. And there's never been more of a hot button like specific characters in the meta right now. I think an interesting way to approach this might be to talk about how to identify models' weaknesses. So like, for example, some of the models that we think are problematic. I know you mentioned Crimson Dynamo, specifically on like an E.
Bill. I think Bill is a hot topic right now. I saw that on the forums quite a bit. And I think that's a pretty good one to really dive into because he is a tough cookie. Like that guy being right just sitting in the middle. If you don't have a throw, what do?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of my point. Like, how do you approach a model like that and like what you're trying to do there?
So, talking about the Bill, you're talking about specifically just him as a character, not him as like a safe extractor, right? Because safe extractor, there's really no way to deal with it. He just gets to run away.
I'm not saying safe extractor. I'm saying a Bill sitting in the middle of the table.
You mean as like Bill being in the middle of the table doing Bill things,
probably
like
holding an objective, probably holding a blue and a red, and just taking up space, being a butthole, throwing your model off a point each turn. That's probably what they're doing.
So what is Bill bad at doing? He's bad at doing like damage with attacks unless you have flight.
If you have flight, God help you. I found that
does not have action economy. He has aggressive.
Yeah, but you throw him, you power starve him. So I actually really like 4 dice rapid fire attacks in the Bill.
Because you're trying to get him to spend to take no damage.
Yeah. So if you keep spending down, he'll spend down to, let's call it, if he starts with 2 power, he'll end up spending to 0 or take damage, both of which are good for you. Unless he has a way to heal it back.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there with no power, and he does not generate power very well.
Like, I think Punisher is a really good model into him because he can just sit there, rapid fire, like you're saying, to drain his power, and then a big spender to overwhelm his dice once.
Yep.
And so you'll probably do with 2 rapid fire if you get to full send it, you'll do maybe a damage or 2 with the 2 rapid fires, and then hit him with a big spender. Now Punisher is exceptional for dealing damage in 1 turn for a 3-pointer, but he's the perfect kind of model to manage Bill and overwhelm him.
I like the idea of rapid fires trying to starve him with power, because I think that's counterintuitive to the traditional logic of he's really good at defending against them, but he's not good at defending against them and taking no damage without spending power. And so you're doing that to try and bleed him out, and then even if you spike a little bit and end up dealing 1, it's a net neutral on power, because he's going to spend 1, take 1, gain it back. So he's going to gain 0 power while taking a damage. So the best way to do it is 1 damage at a time. But then on the backside, that means it takes a lot of attacks. So the rapid fire also make up for that. So I think Punisher is a good choice for that example. Also, like you were saying, once you get him fairly low, he can go over the top with a big spike attack as well. He also has his own action economy. So if Bill throws him off a point, he can spec ops training to get back into position. So that's not bad. And he's just tough enough that Bill's probably not easily killing him. So
I think the tricky part with him, too, is ensuring that if you do displace him, then don't start attacking him. I've made that mistake once or twice, because he'll just move right back.
Yeah. Don't try and do it with attacks like Shuri. Like, that's a bad idea. It's a huge waste.
Root is a great condition to put on Bill.
Very true.
Or anyone who has to spend for DR, for that matter, like Kingpin or Juggernaut.
So is Stun, actually. Stun is also good to get on. He's not immune to that, right?
No,
He's
it's
not.
fine. I would just played Bill this evening, and he stunned my Bill. Like, whatever.
Well, I mean, if you're going to leave it on for a long period of time, it does eat into his power generation pretty good.
Sure, but Stun's good generically. Like, Root is specifically good into people with 1-cost powers that are really key to their kit, like Bill. So Pyro, the ability to turn 1, walk up, shoot something, and then Firewall, which is both slow and root onto Bill, is a great tech piece into him.
That is good. I like that.
You have other options if you're looking for root, whether it's Tactics card from Red Skull or Mr. Sinister. We won't go through them all, but
yeah. My biggest problem with a model like Bill specifically is like he's literally designed to not have a weakness. So like there really isn't a great choice here. There's no like hard counter. That's why he's the meta model that he is. Like, there is no do X and Bill will not succeed, like with some other models. And so it's a little bit more of like you're still gonna have to work at it. So just keep that in mind.
So my best answer to Bill is just ignore him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, why would I try to come up with all of this stuff to like finally whittle him down when I can just ignore him? Because he doesn't, as you said, do much.
Mm-hmm. Actually, sorry. The no reaction stuff, like Emma and Mystique, are actually pretty good into him. Because Mystique can actually chunk him a bit because she also has rapid fire and the no reaction stuff.
Mystique is great into him. Like, superb.
Yeah.
But yeah, generically, go ahead.
You can't get him incinerated, but due to the fact that Mystique's a mutant, you might be running stuff like X-23. So if you could maneuver X-23 into position and then start laying into him, even better. But it's outside chance.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the best plan I would ever have is to shock him early and never attack him again.
Yeah. Make him spend all of his power.
Super not worried about a shocked Bill. Like, it's almost as good as a stagger, depending on what he needs to do. Obviously, be careful about what you're standing next to because he can chuck buildings and people. But shock him and leave him alone. And if he's got an extract, then you play a stealer and you steal off of him. Like, don't kill him. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, generally agree. If you're going to attack Bill, you should really focus on sending attacks into him that have an efficiency rate. And so, like, the Mystique rapid fires are particularly good because he can't DR, and it's enough attacks to get past his defensive spikes, because everyone knows about defensive dice. You're going to have good rolls and bad rolls. And so you're getting enough opportunities to get some of those bad rolls in so you can actually put some damage on him. Mystic is okay, but it's still not great. And then always, if you're going to attack him, be cautious of aggressive. Make sure you're attacking him at times when aggressive is not going to screw you. Moving on to other models, I'd like to talk about Crimson Dynamo for a bit. If your plan for Crimson Dynamo is just to punch through Disruption Field, you need a new plan. Like a dramatically different plan. It is a horrible, horrible idea. I've told a lot of people, if your plan is to punch through Disruption Field, your plan is to lose the game. Now, that being said, you don't have to punch through it just to win the game. You could just not attack them. But the important thing for Disruption Field is you need multiple control effects. So you want to get him out of position early, force him to activate to get back into position, and then get him out of position again. And once that's happened, he's very easy to deal with, because then he's almost on a script of, I have to go with Dynamo first or he does nothing, and then you just immediately activate and throw him away. So even though you're both trading an activation, it doesn't matter, because he's losing a 4-point model and you're not. It's very nice. One fun way to do it is like with Do You Know Who I Am? Because you only need to do it once, like that dramatically, to get him out of position, and then for the rest of the turn, it's really easy to deal with him. Rest of the game, rather. Does anybody else have good plans for Dynamo? Is there anything you can do other than throw him out?
I will say, for the love of God, the first turn is the most important turn you can possibly have against Dynamo. You cannot let him beam the center of the table and catch several models. That, to me, is the most important part of the whole Dynamo situation.
Yeah, potentially getting multiple models shocked and giving him power seems pretty bad. Power is probably less important.
Apocalypse.
For me, I don't really care how much power Dynamo has, because, again, if your plan was to punch through Disruption Field, you have a bad plan. But, yeah, getting your model shocked is giving him free disruptions for nothing.
I will also say that you can't punch through Disruption Field very well, but you can machine gun it down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not necessarily rapid fire, but you can just make attacks knowing he's going to be spending the 2 power. So let's say I've got 4 activations remaining. Like I've got 8 potential attacks I can put into the target he wants to protect. If I know he's got 4 power and can therefore field disrupt 2 of them, can I afford to quote unquote waste 2 of those to drain his power and have 3 in my hip pocket that will down the character I need to? And if the answer is yes, then that's very viable.
Yeah. If you have absolutely no board control, it is definitely good to try and really tax the attacks that he gets user disruption field on.
There's another thing about him, which is he is a 4-pointer that is not going to contribute a lot offensively, without, just a really awesome raw dog or 2. He will get to attack a bunch of times, most likely, like roll dice, but he taps out at a very low damage cap. So if you're worried about him and you're like, well, Crimson Dynamo is going to be on the field, I don't have a lot of board control, so I'll just see if I can gobble up 1 more extract than my opponent. And since he's down 4 points worth of offensive models, it might be hard for him to dig those extracts out and for you not to counter. There's things you can still do to win the game, as long as you're, if you are all in 100% no holds barred damage, he's going to put a big dent in that game. That's his favorite game. But if you can just put some 2s and 3s on the board and pick up extracts, he won't be able to down those 2s and 3s as easily.
Clearly, outscoring the attrition list is always going to be great.
But I'm just saying, they spent 4 points on a model that is only keeping them alive.
I do think Dino actually has pretty good offense. The 5-die attacks are generally good enough to kill most models, and he can make a lot of them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's really about denying him the opportunity to be offensive. And so I assume you mean more like get the extracts, get out, don't let him keep beaming your whole team over and over again. Right. Which is, I think, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I agree with that.
I think going into it, having a full understanding of what you're going in against, which is the reroll of 2 dice means you're going to be -1 on your attack. He rolls a bunch of dice, so probably -1 because he's going to block 1 and then -1 for DR. So everything you do is going to be -3, right? Mm-hmm. So if you attack him, you have to go in assuming your attack is going to be -3. So if it's a 5 dice attack, you probably aren't going to do anything. So is that of value? Where you at with that? You have to decide, are you going to do attacks there? Are you going to do attacks elsewhere? And know that if you're going to play an E and Dynamo is in your opponent's setup, you're catching him. Most likely that's why he's there. So whatever your plan is needs to be executed and put on the table to deal with that. You can't be shocked. You can be shocked, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. That's the other aspect that a lot of people forget about is also if he gets to go early in the turn, you're not just punching through disruption field and potentially damage reduction and the defense dice your opponent has. You're also punching through shock on your own team. And so, the 5 attack dice concept works on the fact that you're almost averaging 3. It's not quite 3, but it's close. It's 2.7 or 2.8. And so it's pretty close to 3. It rounds up fairly often due to the dice randomness, and you'll get higher than that, obviously. But if you now getting shocked makes that average about 2.1. And then, so you're going 2.1 plus disruptions 1.4. And so you're going 1.4 into defense dice, which means that he's probably blocking 1 on average. So you're doing an average of 0.4 damage. It's just completely fucked. The math goes completely out the window. So it's that's the kind of stuff you need to stop. Sure, you could succeed through it, but you're just not going to, over a long period. So yeah, Aaron's saying, you got to pick your moments, try and get him to spend all of his power on attacks that you don't actually care about. And if he's not spending them on those attacks, then hey, you're getting free attacks into disruptions, which is great. Parker's saying, don't play their game, which is good. I said try and control him out. And Jeremy, I'm sorry, I completely
get at him early.
Get at him early. Yeah. Don't give him opportunistic beams specifically early in the game. Definitely very important. If you're trying to kill him, obviously just attack him with decent energy attacks from outside range 3 is the best way to kill him. But if you can't kill him, you pick one of these strategies. You cannot play their game. He's one of the best models in the game when you play his game. Who else do we got? Anybody want to nominate a troublesome model that they run into on a fair basis?
We're not going down to some of the more corner
preferably
cases,
models
right?
you actually see. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't think anybody needs advice on how to play against Viper, but
How about Mystique Deception?
Mystique Deception's a
Is
good
there
one.
any good? I know it perplexes
So,
Aaron to death. So
no, my favorite is that you have played Deception probably more than anybody recently, and into Deception more than anybody recently. And you've played some very good players lately that played against Deception, and every one of them, I believe, stair-stepped out and absolutely refused to let you use that card.
Yep.
Absolutely refused.
Pretty much.
I'm of the other frame of mind where I'll put out trap deceptions where I'm like, fucking do it. I fucking dare you to come after me with deception, and I'll just try and get you to burn it as early as possible so I can stop worrying about it.
I mean, that's very viable. Yeah. If you feed somebody something, that's a good way to do it. Like if you're better off just giving me your 3-point model that isn't the worst thing in the world for you to just lose, that's not terrible, right? Than to fuck up later and accidentally miss a move and suddenly you've lost something huge.
Yeah.
You're down 3 cubes. You're like, oh fuck.
I think the key is really identifying who your opponent wants to deceive. Once you've identified who they want to deceive, you can identify how to play around it a little bit better. Some people don't care. They just want a free model. My favorite is Toad to play into it. I just act like they don't even have Deception with Toad, because he's so far back that the Deception doesn't really put him in super danger. It just puts him in danger, like it's like yellow, not red. And then if they shoot him and they just don't one-shot, he gets out anyway. So I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'll let you have that. And then you're like, but clearly you can't give them, like, picking it like voodoo. You can't give them voodoo. Like, you gotta save your important people.
So, I mean, we're talking about giving them people. What's more important is giving them the extract. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm assuming we're playing on some centerline extract. And my choice is either I have a safe grab, which means I can grab it, get back, and be in anti-deception range. What if I don't? Or what if we're playing on paranoia and I don't have 2 safe grabs, right? Because I'm not X-Men. At that point, I would advocate throwing someone up who you don't care about too much, or who is relatively tanky, and not picking up the objective. Because now they have a choice. They can either double move and pick it up themselves, which lets you punish them for it, or they deceive the model that doesn't have an objective. Both of which are wins for me, I think. Right? What I can't stand is on this 4-wide extract, we each pick up 2, but you deceive one of mine that picked it up, and you go up 3-1 and daze a model. Like, that's what Mystique is trying to achieve. So that's what you need to let her not achieve, is the 3-1 extract lead and the daze. So
you're kind of like, you're building like the stair step without picking up the extracts, which is good.
Well, there's no stair step. I just double move to the middle. And I'm like, take me or not, but I'm not bringing you the extract. And if you don't take me, then I have a buddy that I can go pick up the extract with my next activation. You're
putting the buddy out first without picking up the extract. That way you're not risking losing it to deception.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
I was going to say, anybody who can do the standard centerline extracts and move back, they usually have bigger bases. If you have somebody behind them that also has a larger base, you can sometimes just end within 2 of that model. That'd be an awesome. You're totally safe. But like you mentioned, Brandon, somebody like Toad, if you're just far back, Deception may not be able to move them far enough to be worth it or to be useful for the extract steal. Other things that I found are ways for you to respond with things like protectors. Because if you have somebody who can protect on turn 1, like Scourge, then you can have, as soon as you move somebody forward with a deception, then you just double move your model forward who can try to protect on turn 1. It's kind of rare to have that, of course, but that was always my strategy. And A-Force was a specific one where I would see deception, and my special delivery was basically just to counter their deception, because I would let them deceive somebody. They'd pull them forward, and then I would use special delivery to throw She-Hulk way forward, and now she's a bodyguard sitting on top of my model they just deceived, and so they got no value out of it. There are a couple things you could do to protect it, because they'll probably just have the Mystique activation and maybe no attacks to deal with that model.
Interesting. I don't know of many models that can get that far up the table. I'm trying to think of some. I assume special delivery can with Crystal.
Crystal or Angela can do it, yeah.
Because your model's effectively 3 moves forward with deception. So
if you have like, for example, like a in your example of like a toad, and he only gets a medium moves forward, you could definitely move twice and bodyguard that model. But it'd have to be something like a Scourge who gets 2 power on turn 1. Not everybody has active, but there are things you can play in your list that will protect your model who's being deceived. Other like no-brainer obvious models to take are anything with grunts, because they'll activate at the same time, and now you have 2 models standing next to each other. She cannot deceive the parent or the grunt because you activated them close to one another. That's a really obvious one that you don't have to spend an activation setting up a model to stop the deception. They just go together and the deception is stopped.
If you use special delivery, does She-Hulk still have power to bodyguard?
Not immediately, unless you hit somebody with a special delivery attack.
Okay.
You're hoping a 7 dice does a damage to somebody.
Well, but again, they'd have to be like at the center line for you to attack them, right?
Not if you used Angela specifically, you can get really deep with it.
Oh, that's right. Angela goes really far.
Yeah,
that's fair. Okay,
that's a very super corner case.
Yeah, it's
counter.
like Angela, She-Hulk, and another model versus deception. But I know you've had experience with that, so
right. But I was just saying that there. I guess that's a long way of saying if you play your own favorite list into deception enough, you can see where things could be done to help you. Mm-hmm. If you just play against it twice ever, and then you go to a tournament and you see it the third time in the final round, you're going to feel like, this card is terrible, I hate it. But it's because you didn't try to solve that problem with your favorite list.
Yeah. What I find is the most effective way is essentially everyone will play with their range 2 in their hand, and every single thing that they do until it's played, they won't lay that range 2 down. It just is in their hand, and every time they do something, they will continuously check range 2 and make sure everybody is stair-stepped. I swear to God. And that was the most effective way of doing that. They never once got away from it.
My favorite, most recent interaction with deception was at the WTC against Sylvester, I want to say his name was. It was Cookies Monsters Cabal Brotherhood player. He had Mystique Deception with Malekith, and I double move Black Cat to pick up an extract, but she ends up basically standing directly behind a kiosk. And so you move her into base contact, so the only way that he can deception you forward is by getting to like the edge of the terrain, like within the 45-degree angle, and walking her along it. And so if you put her in the right spot, she doesn't actually clear the building because she doesn't have wall crawler. She can't go over the building because it's just a regular advance. And so sometimes you can take advantage of the terrain to make the advances towards Mystique not possible. Like if you just take a regular model and put them like behind a size 4 truck, they can't walk over it unless they have flight or wall crawler. So they're kind of like pinned on the terrain. They can't like go towards her. And so that's another way to kind of play against it. Get a couple safe models out there. Even if they, like Aaron said, they don't pick up a piece of objective, it doesn't matter because they'll give you a buddy that will prevent you from the next person from being deceived.
I like that trick quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's a good trap.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, he looked at it, he, like, measured a bunch of stuff. He's like, I literally can't deceive you. I'm like, that's awesome. It's like, that was my goal.
Good.
I'm glad that worked. All right. Anybody else got something else? Aaron, how do you play against Spirit Wakanda? You don't.
Carefully.
Same way you do anything else. Don't feed them models. Let them go up, not 4-1, but on extracts.
Yeah.
And then just consider the fact that they spent 2 cards to take a probably 2 VP lead turn 1, and that the rest of your list and cards will wear them down.
Interesting. What happens when your opponent kills all of your models with Spirit of Wakanda? Or wait, no. Wakanda Forever. I always say them backwards.
Play better?
Damn it. I thought you were going to say that.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to throw Voodoo on here just as a basic example. I think it's pretty obvious how you play against Voodoo, though.
Hit him with the truck.
Yeah, you hit him with a truck.
Run him over with a fucking truck.
So Voodoo's obvious weaknesses are that you You're fairly vulnerable after you possess someone because it's so expensive to also pull Brother Daniel back to you. So, not that defense dice are particularly great, but he is weaker to defense when he doesn't have Brother Daniel. He's fairly short range while not really having action economy or movement ability. So, just don't give him attacks you don't need to give him. Make sure you're staying out of his attack range because he does hit reasonably hard. But yeah, kill him. That's how you deal with him. You kill him.
Yeah, he's average tankiness for a 4 threat, in my opinion. He's got 12 health, not, discounting the 6 mystic, right? But 4/4 on the energy physical with 12 health is solid. But he has 0 dice mods. So, whatever you can do, nothing special. The key here, though, is you typically cannot go into Voodoo early on turn 2 before Voodoo activates. And this is my perspective here. Because I look at every activation as a ceiling floor. Like, what could I achieve? That's my ceiling. If I try to do X and fail, that's the floor. So going into Voodoo and giving him like 7 power and not killing him, like that's the worst it's the worst. That's the floor of my activation. And that leads to like a double spender or a builder, spender, possess. Whatever that leads to is probably really effing bad for me.
Yeah.
So against Voodoo specifically, I try to wait until Voodoo is gone so that when I go into him, if I fail, he can't immediately use that power to make me wish I hadn't.
Yeah. And he also generates so much power that after he's activated, he's probably going to be on like 7+ anyway. And so, or he will have just possessed somebody and not have his token.
Right. And if he possesses him, he probably doesn't have the power to possess and then pull the token back. So typically wait until Voodoo is gone before you go into him. Obviously, every situation is different, but he's a specific character I try not to go into first.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good strategy point. I didn't think about that before.
I will, while on that subject, say the exact same thing against any model with healing factor. For instance, Logan. If Logan is sitting in front of me with 3 power and no damage, there's almost a 0 chance I'm going to attack him. Because that floor is I do 2 damage. Let's say 2 to 4. He is going to activate with a bunch of power that he can use really well, and then heal 2 of that damage I just put onto him. So I need to have a really good scenario-based reason to go into a healing factor model, specifically Logan or X23, before they've gone. So that's something else to keep in your hip pocket.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything else for Voodoo?
So the changes to Voodoo is...
Oh, there's a ton.
No, I'm saying I haven't played against his updated version. He seems more fighty than he used to.
They basically moved, the superpower throw to his attack.
Yeah.
And so he can potentially throw twice now. It's just unlikely that he will.
He's still good at doing his thing, though, right? Like, he can still cause you to drop stuff, and he just gets it.
Yeah, but the inability to pull it back is... It's a very temporary thing now. It's not a all game I own your ass.
What did it change? 1 power?
The biggest thing is it doesn't come back in the power phase. So you used to just go last with him, possess someone, recall in the power phase, and just do it again.
Sure.
Now it's just stuck there. You gain 1 power in your power phase. You're like, well, maybe I don't even have 3 to recall it now.
It statistically only matters for 1 attack, usually. Like, I don't know that it really matters that much, because it's only 1 power difference to pull it back now, and so you probably are going to take 1 damage from that random attack. So if the 2 defense dice was going to save you from that 1 attack, then yes, it matters, but usually I don't think it does. It just gives your opponent that 1 opportunity for that 1 attack. You're not going to have the extra 2 dice, which is, in my opinion, it's extremely minor, but it is a noticeable change.
The other thing is it also works on dodges.
It does work on dodges. So throwing something at him first would be nice, because then you get to double dip. Yep. Unless you're playing against Convocation, he gets to teleport away.
Which is sexy.
Yeah. Okay, anything else on Voodoo?
I was just going to say, if you can identify where they're sending Voodoo, or, if he doesn't deploy last and you have an idea where he is, just make your opponent have to deal with other models besides. You never want a one-on-one situation with Voodoo. It's not going to end well for you, most likely, in the scenario game. Making sure you can double team him and put him down is important. Easier said than done, but that's how
I have kind of the hindsight perspective. I identify where Voodoo's going to go, and I actually send my Steelers somewhere else. I was like, if you want to fight, I'll put my fightiest guy next to you. Whatever, I don't really care. And then, I just mainly, you really need to keep your extract Steelers away from Voodoo, because that's really when he gains the most potency, is when he can just possess somebody and have secondary effects beyond immediately stealing extracts. I think it is just as a stealer, if you just view his superpower as, I just take your extract, that's all it does, it's only very strong. His really broken mechanic is that he can prevent your characters from using their own effects. And there's counterplay, obviously you can just kill him, but really the counterplay is just keep him away from your extract stealers, and then you get to play the game with the rest of your models. And so the fact that he's also stealing just makes the game fair, as opposed to making, bad shit happen.
Yep.
So moving on past Voodoo, I actually thought of something for the previous character that I forgot to bring up. So Bill, I think Bullseye's a decent counter to him, because he has to stop the damage twice. Makes sense? Yeah. So he's basically automatically dealing damage to Bill. So even though Bill's immune to poison, or not poison, but bleed, he's immune to bleed. So he's not going to get bled, but if you do the rapid fire shot, he's taking 2 damage just straight up, or he's spending 4 power, either way. So if you're trying to bleed him out of power, Bullseye's a great choice, because you get the double dip. But yeah. Okay, anybody else got another character?
Black Cat.
Yeah, I was going to say her if you didn't.
Throw shit at her.
Fucking, I found the best way to deal with her is I got a Black & Decker blender that I keep on my counter, and so I've been putting a lot of my opponent's models in there.
Yeah,
that's been helping a lot.
Hammer.
Actually, when it comes to Black Cat, it's kind of the same thing as Daredevil. What I said earlier is you just got to throw shit into her. That's the only thing she's weak to. If your plan is to kill her with attacks, you're just going to get frustrated. I fucking hate it so much.
I will actually say it's funny. We're going to go back to something we've said before already, this cast a couple times, but rapid fire models don't it's not that they automatically counter her, but they get kind of a pseudo reroll when you can't reroll against her and you can't crit. But the fact that you'll get more opportunities to attack and she has a lower health pool means that if you can just stand there and get your total 4 shots against her, she can fall down without every shot. Actually, it's a pretty good point for point trade. A lot of 3-costers just attack 4 times, so they can put her down.
I will point out that a lot of the rapid fire models rely on either crits or rerolls to get their reliable triggers on rapid fire, so you're not gonna. It's a small change in percentages, but you're unlikely to get all 4 shots outside of 2 models. So, I also have a twisted view because I play her in webs, and getting the defensive mods and all the other tools is hard. The thing you really need to be careful of is fallback, because you'll commit to the attack chain. She'll fall back the first attack, and you'll lose the other 3 attacks. Mm-hmm. Unless you're Punisher, then you get 3 of the 4, which is nice. But yeah, it's super annoying. The no crits is way more impactful than people think, and the no mods is just as annoying. It just doesn't affect everybody. Anybody got some tips that don't involve just throwing shit at her? Pre-measure long +1 and just stay out of that.
Or bait her into it.
Or bait her into it.
If she has to end there, she can't leap away. And you can't crit mod, but 2, like a builder spender terrain throw probably puts her in the dirt no matter what.
Probably. I'll go back to Aaron's suggestion on the last model. Never fucking ever attack this model before she's activated unless she's about to run away with an extract. Giving this model power is the fucking end of the world. You never, ever, ever want to attack her until after she's already activated and stolen your extract. And then, even then, sometimes you look at the board state and say, I'll just get a different extract and just let her have it, because it's not worth the bullshit. It's not worth fighting uphill for it. It's like, I'll just go kill Miles, who's holding an extract. Because guess what? I get to kill him. I'm just allowed to by the game rules.
Yeah, she can't steal something if she already has something. So
Right,
it's like,
a lot of the extracts she can't take 2 of, so it's just like
her
fine,
hands are full. Just
go
give
the
her
fuck
that.
away. He's like, you want to have 3 cubes? Fine, I'll wait for you to fall down and I'll pick them up. Like, I don't give a shit. Yeah, that's my advice for dealing with Black Cat. A lot of people make the mistake of attacking her before she's activated, and they're like, oh, I left her on 1. It's like, no, you made a horrible mistake is what you did, because now I get to stagger 2 models and place out of line of sight.
I think with the Inhumans popping up pretty hardcore these days, everything has power now. Like, it seems like everything kind of has the ability to be online whenever anyone needs it to be. So the world is a very scary place. I'm like, I don't know who has what. Like, everybody seems to be accessible.
Yeah. Giving her slow is pretty relevant. Giving her root.
I put Firewall on her when I was playing
Firewall's
Ryan.
very good. Honestly, really, when you think about it, Pyro's a really good counter for her. Because he's got range 4 attacks, which is not relevant for her specifically. But what he can do is attack somebody at range 4 and pass Incinerate to her after not attacking her, which is super cute. And then you give her fucking slow and root, and you say, fuck off. Slow, root, and Incinerated. You just stay over there. And then if she does steal your shit, even if you don't have any activations left, you can Pyromania her and steal her shit. Yeah, I like Pyro against Black Cat.
I saw him in so many lists like a year ago, and I have not seen him recently. I think it's just the meta.
Thanos.
What's that?
It was to counter Thanos.
Right, but he, we've mentioned
because
him twice
CGR
today
is
as
immune.
well.
CGR is immune to both effects, essentially.
He's not immune to either effect though. Slow and root. He's not immune to those.
No.
He just effectively is immune.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that rooting him is not irrelevant, but incinerating him isn't possible, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Pyro got pulled out of a lot of lists because the Thanos kind of went away, but I think he's still important. I think more people should be playing Pyro.
I think there's a lot of models out there now, is the thing.
There is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah, they gotta, you have to make hard choices and.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get rid of something to put in CGR, right?
Yeah, I mean, every list I've played for a while has had him. So, with the elephant in the room, should we talk about CGR?
You start. I have no idea what to do.
Okay.
The answer's not Magneto.
All right. So, that's fair. The funny thing is we had this exact conversation in the Discord. I was like, I think Brotherhood just loses a CGR, right? And then we had multiple people in the chat like, no, it's okay. I'm like, I don't know, I kind of want to watch one of those games. Now that I've watched one, let me tell you, once Jeremy breaks all of his models by squeezing them, the game is over. It doesn't really matter. But in all seriousness, what I do against CGR is I will put out a juicy target for them early. That's generally a low-cost model, like either Toad or like even Pyro's usually a pretty good choice. So I put them out, they'll come up, they daze that model. Then my CGR shoots their CGR. That's been working very well.
You had me there.
Then, see what I do after that is
Black Cat comes up, staggers. Gotcha.
I steal Prio with all according to plan, and then I like pen and stare their Ghost Rider, and that's been working extremely well. No, I think that's honestly the problem, is the best model at dealing with CGR is CGR, and that's clearly an issue. I do know that like there's smart ways to play against CGR and there's not smart ways to play against him. I don't think there's any way to shut him down because he lives and dies by the dice, not by your actions so much. But you can make him fight uphill, I think enough to make him reasonable. If you take a lot of game mechanics like canceling attacks, resetting attacks, one thing a lot of people don't realize, if you cancel an attack that they used, for example, no matter the cost on, they don't get that effect back. And so if you walk up to somebody and use no matter the cost and say, I'm going to Cosmic Pen Stare you, and then they Lifesaver out of line of sight or something along those lines like Trickster, and it resets the attack, they don't get the discount on the next one. So like that card is used, they took the 3 damage, and they got 0 effect for it. So like using that sometimes is really useful. Obviously standing in cover, trying to stand in points where it's really difficult to pull you towards him. So even if he's pulling you, he's not getting you out of cover. is very nice. Giving your opponent opportunities to make mistakes is also good. Like putting someone out that they can get to, and maybe even probably days, but that just results in him spending a lot of his power. Like, oh, you can place 4 and get this guy. Well, your opponent probably shouldn't place 4. They should wait for a better opportunity. But if you make it juicy enough, they might go for it. And so stuff like that can help. But really, it's just, play smart, make him work to get line of sight on your models, make him work to daze people, play sacrifice, play fallback, play escort. All those things are useful. If they're not playing Guardians, obviously staggering and shocking him is super important. Even if they are playing Guardians, getting shock on him early and making him decide if he's going to play Crew the Mono on like top of 2 is super nice because it puts him in a weird situation where now you're just playing for after he loses the effect. And now I'm going to stagger you immediately. And so it's just a different kind of like way to play the game.
I think also too, watch the missions that you're playing. Because some of these are natural predators for that. Like, if you're going to play D's and spread way out with a shitload of things on the table, that's not his favorite thing to eat, right?
D's
like,
and F's,
If you're playing E's and one of them is a researcher, like, that is natural prey. So, do you have
lining
a list?
Up into the death cannons. Yeah.
So, think about those things.
I've only played into him once, but I knew I was going to play against him in list construction, and so I just put nothing but models that kill other models in my list. So instead of king making with one big model or using anybody, everybody was a 3-pointer or a 4-pointer who could hit above their weight class, and he didn't kill all of them in a single. He didn't daze all of them in a single activation. Because I had exceptional healing for one of the times he tried. And so I just ignored him until later in the game and killed all the models around him, and I could outscore him while I was doing that because all of my models were dangerous, and he spent 6 points on a model that didn't daze somebody every turn. Now, of course, if their Ghost Rider dazes somebody every turn, then, they're getting to do what they want. But if the Ghost Rider never does, because you have a Koye or a Steve 1 bodyguard, or you have exceptional healing or Odin's Blessing. There are lots of things that really slow him down. The problem with it is, if there's a problem, is if you go, well, I'm going to go my plan where I'm playing a balanced list where some of my guys steal and some of my guys attack, and well, then CGR is going to laser down the models that are important that turn, and then you'll never get your initiative. Your strategy will never come up, and you'll feel like CGR is a broken model. But if CGR has to kill everyone every turn, he can't. So you'll be okay.
No, but the problem is he kills whatever he wants. That whoever you played didn't kill the right models.
Well,
I'm serious.
I had nothing but 3s and 4s that do damage. So he didn't.
Every model does damage in this game.
No, I was playing.
Like efficient damage dealers, like Weapon X, for example, where everyone has claws, everyone is diving at you.
Yes,
and I get that like there is no one to target, but there always is, right? Mm-hmm. Like the way that we did in the team turn is we went after everyone's leaders on the first turn. It's like, we're going to kill your leader top of 2. You're never going to get a leadership trigger the entire game, and so we kind of played that way. And so, like, depending on what you're playing, that's very important. But sometimes it didn't matter. Like, killing Kingpin's not really an option because he's just so chungus, and then he fucking stands behind fucking dumpsters and cars and shit. It's like, whatever.
I guess my point is that I felt like I had game the entire time because I had models with good action efficiency, and they were highly efficient at killing things, and my opponent was playing 6 points down because his model was not going to do as much damage as mine spread out. Because he had, he had a 6 point super killer, CGR, and some other models that were playing fair. And maybe if he played only models that are super unfair, I would have, not been able to do that.
That sounds like the issue. If he's playing a bunch of kind of just filler models that aren't really doing much, that sounds like a mistake.
Now, I will say, I think Parker is right in that you play wide, right? Because CGR will likely daze one model a turn. He might whiff. he shouldn't daze 2 unless he's powered up and can double spender and do weird shit. So if you can play, say, 6 wide at 18 with a bunch of 3s and along Parker's vein, you're like X23, Zemo, etc. All these people who usually take 2 hits to kill, but you're not putting your points into defensive tech that's not going to help you. You're putting it into kill 1. The rest of my people charge and just murder your CGR.
Yeah. I think the most efficient thing is to take 3 pointers that are not easy to one-shot, like people that have like 6 hit points, people that have maybe 4 energy defense or damage reduction, like Lizard is a good choice. That way, it's forcing him to take 2 attacks into every model.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is, do not give him a single model to kill turn 1, unless he wants to overcommit, and by that I mean like place 4 straight up your center line.
Yep.
If
That's
you
what I
can,
was saying earlier.
if you can make him play KG, he doesn't get a model turn 1, and you're playing wide. I think you've got a legitimate shot to neuter a lot of what he does. Having said that, the game is still going to be about his dice, right? CGR games are all about CGR, whether you want it to be or not. But you can definitely do some of the things that we mentioned to tilt the odds a little bit in your favor.
I had Honey Badger and X23 as well, so there were several layers of shit he had to manage before he started to win with CGR.
What does he have to manage with that?
Because Honey Badger is going to try to take one of his attacks. He's never. My X23 is going to be really difficult to damage because he has to pull X23 outside of range 3 of Honey Badger, which is really hard to do if I'm always putting Honey Badger next to her, which I did, and then.
He just goes to range 4 and shoots you twice. Like he doesn't need to do anything. He just shoots you twice at range 4.
Right, but then
if he get there with one move.
But if he leaves, let's say if he commits power to leave, if he commits power to place far away, he's leaving the battlefield, right? Like he's leaving I am no longer worried about him. It wasn't something he could do for just perfectly free.
So he doesn't need to be anywhere. His optimal standing point is out of your efficient attack range, but within attack range of you.
I don't know what to tell you guys. As it turns out, CGR didn't get to do everything that he wanted to do every turn. So I know you guys swear that he should, but I don't think he does.
This is like a place thing. Like also like playing against Thanos when somebody isn't practiced with them and playing against somebody who's mastered Thanos is a different situation. So we're not saying like you played against a bad player or something. We're just saying like maybe this player hasn't fully utilized CGR yet, or there's a lot of situations. Maybe like the dice did go your way, or maybe he wasn't comfortable playing against what you specifically brought because he hadn't seen it before. There's a lot of stuff could go into it. But what I would say, like for people that are more interested in like the math side of it, I sat down with Vince and we did some calculations at Warfair. And if you take an average 3-point model, like 5 hit points, 3 defense, it's a 43% chance for CGR to one-shot you through a defense roll. And so if you look at it like that, and we take, like, let's say I just bring 6 3-point models that are all reasonably easy to kill, we're talking about roughly a 40 to 45% chance that he just one-shots you. Now, should he do that 2 times in a row? Obviously not. That's not the average. But when you're talking about, like, a sample size, you can go to, like, random.org and do 1 to 100 chance and flip that coin 7 to 100 times and say, it's like, oh, look, I hit a string where it happened 6 times in a row. 43 or lower, 6 times in a row. And you're like, if that happens during your game, you're going to fucking lose. Because he's just going to go 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and fucking 3 of your models are dead. And it's just like, that's turn 3. He has solo killed 3 models. So, and that's without winging it tokens. That's just straight up. And so when you throw winging it in there, now he only really needs to hit that like 3 or 4 times, not 6. It gets really scary. And so that's all we're talking about. Is like that's why when we say it's going to come down to his dice, because he's going to take enough of those like rough coin flips, and if he hits them, there's really no way to come back from it if he's getting his proper target priority. And if he's going into a 4-pointer, it's going to take both shots way more often, but it's going to be a more valuable model he's taking out.
I didn't need to know why CGR is really good. We know why he's really good.
I'm saying that for the listeners, not for you. I know you get it.
But I guess what I'm saying is, if you want to maximize your chances of not auto losing, having enough models that if he does start going off, you have something still to do. I guess.
I totally agree. Going wide is, I think, the only way. If you're playing tall, you're just playing, jousting trains, which is never a good idea. I think going wide is the best way. I asked Kenny to bring CGR versus my webs for like a whole day just before we went to WC, so I was practiced against it just in case. I lost every single game, but every game was like, okay, will Kenny hit 8 running coin flips? And if he doesn't, I automatically win. Like, he needed literally every single one. He killed me to the box on the last attack. And so it's like, what's up?
I do want to say one thing. So specifically against CGR, but in general, I think when you're playing a game of MCP, after you flip over the scenario and you look at your opponent's team, you should, before you look at your models, you should decide how wide you want to be. And the reason I say that specifically here is for what you just said. I think you can be as tall as CGR and do just fine. Like, if he's going to play 4 wide CGR, you can play 4 wide whatever. The reason why that's okay is because if he chooses to go first with CGR to daze a model, that gives you prio. Right? Now you can go into CGR, daze him, and maybe even wake up with prio and KO him. The problem is if he's running 3 wide, like Thanos, or say Star-Lord, CGR, Hulk at 15, and you're running 4 wide, he dazes a model, he still has prio, he gets to kill the model, right? It's the whole prio issue that MCP has. So you can run tall, but it has to be as tall as them. You cannot run +1. That's horrible.
And you have to be planning on at some point he's going to give you prio. And if you play around that mechanic, it can be okay.
Yep.
But if you're not playing for that specific opportunity to steal prio at some point and turn the tables on him, then it's just bad.
Yeah. Anyway, I just want to point that out there. I don't think people take into account exactly how wide they should be playing until the game is over. And they're like, oh man, really sucked that I was 5 wide and you were 4. Well, if you'd only thought about that before you flipped over your models, it'd been better.
That's definitely going to be in our do's and don'ts series.
Yeah. But I actually do like playing 3 wide versus 3 wide, kaijus. I think that is fair MCP.
I do want to give a quick shout out to Bob. I looked over at his table when he was playing, and I was like, now that is a guy I can get behind. I look over, he's got Malekith, Hulk, and what was it? What else did he have?
Ultron. Ultron 2.
Oh, it was Ultron 2,
no,
right next to me.
He was playing a different game, I believe.
I saw it. It was right next to you guys.
It was both 7s and Ultron 2.
Dude.
It was fucking crazy.
He
was ready to get it.
It was so much
like,
beef.
Technically, it's affiliated. I remember in the car ride home, I explained to Jeremy that Immortal Hulk, Malekith, and CGR is actually a legal list. And he was like, why didn't we do that? Like, Jesus Christ, Jeremy.
I can't get much harder. Oh, man. But shout out for that, man. I was like, Jesus Christ. That's real nice. Real nice. He had his car.
Does anybody else have another problematic model they'd like to bring up?
Let's go one last one. I gotta go to bed here soon.
Your sleepy time, I'm sure.
How about Hulk, for those that haven't found it yet?
Man, you're just trying to get me mad.
I know.
Fucking hate this model.
Priority. That's how you do it. You have to do priority. You have to time it exactly right. And if you miss a single beat, you just walk away lost. You lost the game.
Yeah, the situations I have experienced and observed is you can't kill him unless you can kill him, but you have to kill him 3 full times. So Hulk's going to go into you because he places forever, especially in Suns. He's going to get full activation, then you get to attack him and try and daze him. He's hard to daze, and after he's had that amazing turn, he's even harder to daze because all his shit's dead. So you daze him, he flips over, and then becomes fake Hulk, and he's got 5 damage on him. They're going to patch him up for 4. Then at the end of his turn, he's going to heal 1. During this turn, he's going to go full bore into you yet again, without probably siege this time. Then you're going to kill him again, and then he's going to flip over again and go into you again. So he's going to get 3 full activations into your
again.
Team. I like how Aaron's listening to this. Yeah, 3 full activations into your team before you can actually try and kill him. And at that point, he will only have 4 damage on him, and you have to actually kill him for a 3rd time. And if you don't, because your shit's dead, you're going to lose the game. The only way to do anything about this is to steal prio the first time you kill him. And so the entire game devolves down to you have one opportunity. It's convince your opponent to give you prio because he's killed too much of your stuff. Then you have to crack back, kill Hulk, use prio to kill him because he's going to flip with 5 damage, which means he has 10 hit points. if you fail to kill him in that one activation, you're still going to lose. And everything I said before is still going to happen.
Then you have to go and attack the fourth time.
I fucking hate it.
All translates to just don't fucking attack Hulk.
So the answer is you can't kill him. He gets to do whatever he wants. And you just got to play around it and hope you win the game, despite your opponent has a mortal 7-point model. The biggest problem I have is that you do all this work to try and get an advantage, and your opportunity is deal 10 in one activation, or get punished even harder than if you had ignored the model in the first place.
Yep.
And so that's why I hate it. It should just be like he dies. Like that should be the answer. The fix is he just never loses the token. You just remove the mechanic where he removes it, and he just goes back 15 and sits there with the token on him, and you can just still kill him whenever you want.
What's completely crazy is I haven't seen him ever since CGR came out. Like I haven't played.
Everyone says CGR is really good into him, but I don't know if it's like a play style thing. Like you have to play him differently because it feels like he should be able to kill CGR, and CGR generally plays wider than Hulk, so I don't get it. But I haven't seen it, so
I don't know. But going back to different things, what's really good against him is Crimson Dynamo. Being able to shut off his wilds is pretty good. MODOK is actually really good against him. Mm-hmm. He can't get his throws, shuts off the good part of Hulk. Like there's a few things that are actually pretty good. They don't really stop the chaos, but they can slow him down enough for you to get the objectives and get the game won before he destroys the entire Earth. Yeah, if you get decent missions with him and play wide, there's definitely a victory path that way. More so than CGR, I would say. Because you actually get to play the game. Yeah, Hulk does not have a place infinite and shoot infinite, like with infinite amounts of damage. Well, I think it's really just the fact that you don't have crew. Like, I think CGR out of Guardians is a totally different conversation, which we could have had. Sure. Because getting him debuffed is super valuable, but in Guardians you just can't, which is just so unfair. Yeah, just flushing all your debuffs, yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Parker, did you have anything for Hulk?
Oh, Mortal Hulk, I think, like you guys said, if you have a size 4 throw, that's amazing because he doesn't have the infinite place. Just even throwing him medium, he'll come back to you, but he's spending his power on that. Crimson Dynamo is huge. Any abilities to modify their dice, even like you said, MODOK,
Witty Banter's been great.
Witty Banter's great. Yep.
Witty Banter's been great.
Yeah, Spider-Man. Even I'm blanking on her name right now. Out of Black Order,
Black Swan.
Yeah, Black Swan. Yeah, Black Swan could even like turn off his wilds, which is adorable. Any ability to do that is fantastic. Models that models that are difficult to throw or effects that stop throwing really shut down his turn, really blunt his effects. There are a couple things that can slow that down too. Anything you do, and like you said, just ignore him because if you spend your 7 points on 2 or nearly 3 models, then and you have some of those effects, he's going to have a hard time winning the game. But he can. It's just harder.
Cool.
I don't know. Could you guys? I don't think there's a kaiju fight against him anymore, right? It used to be that Mal versus Hulk, came down to who blinks first in the Prio game. I don't think there really is anymore.
No, Hulk just beats Malekith now, right. Unless you get weird situations going on, because they took away Mal's throw and a lot of his damage potential.
Right, so it's really just he wins the kaiju fight. Is what's who.
I kind of like where their heads were at with it because they've kind of changed like the triangle of like meta rotation to Hulk kills smashy guys and Malekith kills little guys, and like he really like feasts on them because of the way his leadership works. Mm-hmm. So like Malekith is supposed to be good into wide lists, and Hulk is supposed to be good into tall lists, but it's not really the way it comes out. But I think I know I see what they were trying to do. I think, which would have been good, but CGR is just better than both of them and costs less, which is dumb.
Yeah, CGR is the foil that doesn't work right. I think
they just missed a little high, and it's really when you combine CGR with other things. Like Malekith is best in Cabal, and Hulk is best in Midnight Suns. Like they were designed around their own factions. CGR is good fucking everywhere, and then also crazy in Guardians, and that's really the problem. Is that he's almost unassailable in Guardians because he gets the dice fixing, he gets the immunity to effects, and he's so easy to get affiliated because it only takes one other model, and you take whatever you want. Like, you take Immortal Hulk if you want. Like, you can take Thanos if you want. You can take whatever the fuck you want as the rest of your list because he's
Pretty
affiliated.
silly. Yeah.
It's dumb. Yeah. Like, the fact that you could put Rocket, Nebula, CGR, and Star-Lord on the table, and you're just like, how would you like to compete with my damage output? And you're like, you can't. Like, these models are literally designed to be min-maxed models. Every single one of them. Anyway. So that was our last one. Do we have anything else for Hulk? Much like we said with CGR out of Guardians, putting effects on him is actually super relevant. Shocking him, making him only a 6-die attack is super great. Obviously, Stagger is huge. Judgment is absolutely huge, because if you can keep him from getting to 10 power, he's really not a monster, because he won't get to automatically resurrect. But there's going to be
any of the anti-power effects feel really good.
I think he's immune to stun, but yeah.
But even in the anti-power effects on things like Rogue, regular Ghost Rider, Hulkbuster, anything you can do that doesn't give power or saps his power, he really doesn't like it.
Regular Ghost Rider is actually surprisingly good foil to both CGR and Immortal Hulk, because Pen and Stare can potentially kill both of them while draining a bunch of power. And while they're killing your team, you get to free power up Ghost Rider. And if they go into Ghost Rider first, he resurrects, which is pretty great. And so you can get to go either with him twice or just make them kill. Like, if their CGR shooting your Ghost Rider to kill him 4 times, it's like, okay, so cool. So you spent 4 turns killing Ghost Rider and Wong, and I've still got models. Like, that's a free win to me. But yeah. Alrighty, let's wrap that up. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully you had a good time. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Jeremy's robot.
And Aaron.
And you've just listened to The Gang Does Fair at the Con.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
We did it, boys.
Jesus
Parker,
Christ.
even Parker couldn't stop us. That's
Not
how
even.
good we did.
Not even a little
Fucking
bit.
tried.
Even though actually Aaron tried to stop us more than anybody this time.
I did. I'll be right back.
He's got to poop. He's pooping. Let the record show that he's pooping. Okay, so this is a perfect time for me to tell a story about Aaron, because he's gone. So while we were on the plane home, I believe it was. Yeah, it was on the plane home. We were watching movies, and I told Aaron, because he's watching like fucking 2.5 Men or whatever, right? And so he's like, Aaron, you should stop watching 2.5 Men and watch The Prestige, because The Prestige is an amazing movie. And he's like, oh, thanks, I'll watch it next. And so he stops watching 2.5 Men at the end of that episode, and then goes back and starts watching The Prestige. And then about roughly 2 hours later, I'm like, hey, Aaron, how was The Prestige? And he goes, it was bad. Why did you tell me to watch it? At which point I was offended and hurt. So
I remember looking up and I saw him watching Prestige, and I was like, that is a movie an intelligent man would be watching. The Prestige, because that is a good movie, in fact. I also agreed. You should be watching The Prestige.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And even Perrin there was like, yeah, Prestige, 3 thumbs up. Let's do this. And then Aaron was like, nah, it's for simpletons.
You're talking
He's
about
like, I don't get
different
it.
Aaron, right?
Nope.
I do not recall this conversation in the least.
I would say that too if I was caught so red-handed. Like, aliens took over my brain.
Sure.
I had no choice in the matter.
Or I guess you can just say whatever the fuck you want on a podcast and people will believe you.
That's probably true also.
Okay.
I've cultivated a listenership that will just believe anything I say and assume that everything I say is gospel. And not at all call me on my shit whenever they feel like.
There's generally about 19 of them that vote for your stupid fucking movies every week.
It's been costing me a lot of money in dues like to get them to vote for me. Let's see. How many of these have, how much money do I owe this week? I got 14 votes. Boom. Next highest was 4. What was that last time? There's so many things have happened since last week. Say last week was my best, I think. Oh my god. It started such a huge argument.
People love to be upset.
There's like literally 300 posts. Yeah, so I got 21 out of the 25 votes.
Well done.
I know, killing it.
You know your stupid audience. There you go.
Wow! Just starting fights.
The one thing I've learned over the course of the last, month of meeting overseas people and people in various cities and whatnot, and them talking about our podcast is they really love hearing about this goddamn robot I work with.
They do.
So I think
it's like their thing.
Yeah, I think it's time to update everybody. So
Yeah.
Did you push it down the stairs finally?
No.
Did you reprogram him to love?
He already knows how to
feelings. Love. Oh, he does.
Yeah,
there's no love.
He loves working.
He learns. It's
What do you love, robot? I love working.
We, like I tell everyone at work, we just work for it now. Like that's how it works. So while I was headed towards a convention, I got an email, and then I immediately showed Brandon because it's so fucked up.
It was a very good email.
It is so fucked up because of how important this thing is. And I do not exaggerate how stupid this robot is and how unimportant it is in the life and times of Jeremy at work. But we certainly have put an emphasis on making it some sort of, an idol for us all to die by. It is the hill in which I will die on, I'm telling you. Anyway, this email says something along the lines of, you have not been using it over the last 2 months. We've been tracking a number of times. It has been basically participating in delivery service, and I need immediate response on what your plan is to correct that. And that was like an important email that hit my emails. Yeah, that actually happened. And I had to show Brandon. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think everyone's had those jobs where your boss is telling you that like something is the most important part of your job, and that person doesn't work in your department. They're like not like a supervisor. They're literally just a step above you in a different department. And you're like, well, actually, as someone who has worked in this department as the highest ranking member of the department for a long time, can I tell you how unfucking important this one thing is that you've decided to be the advanced metric for how I succeed?
So
it's like, yeah, it's like working in a warehouse. And they're like, well, actually, the most important thing is that you check this pull box every 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, so what goes in the pull box? Like, well, orders that need to get shipped out today go in the pull box. I'm like, okay. And these are only like parcel orders, like small individual, like handheld item orders. He's like, yeah. It's like, I have freight orders that have to go out by 3. The parcel orders have to go out by 5. And it takes about 10 minutes to do all of them. So if I spend 5 minutes every 10 minutes of my day checking this fucking box, is absolutely worthless to everyone. And all I will do is get nothing done all day because I'll keep interrupting what I'm actually doing. And so it's like stuff like that where it's like, we need you to press this button on this robot every 30 minutes. You're like, but that accomplishes absolutely nothing.
Basically. Yeah, we've gotten to the point now where corporate has now put out a monthly statement of priorities within the company. And like one of them is, are we hitting our scores for, leases of apartments or turnover rates, things like that. And each department has several of these things, and they're on pie charts. It's either red or green. And these we go over with our executive director. The one that food and beverage has, now it could have many. My department goes through, nearly $500,000 a month worth of payroll and food, whatever. So it could be payroll, it could be food, it could be overtime, it could be any of these things that matter in my department. The only thing that is on that pie chart is number of deliveries. It has to be 31 of 31 days of the month, or it is red. It is a 0 or a 1.
It's a pass-fail.
It is a pass-fail. All the other things that are on there, I am not on there. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's the most ridiculous scenario ever. I just shake my
trying to
head.
explain, but he's like, you understand the purpose of our job is to feed people that have no other access to food. This is literally their sole lifeline in the entire world. And you think me pressing the button on the robot is more important than the other elements of my job when the robot does nothing except be supervised and cause more work.
I'm 100% sure that I'm either in an episode of Black Mirror or we're just
or the
all
star
working,
of the Truman Show.
we're just all working for the robot. Like, this is just some sort of sick experiment.
I had a moment yesterday, I think it was, when I thought to myself, I just caught a glitch in the Matrix. And I can't remember what happened. But I was just like, oh yeah, like, the Matrix is fucking up. It's like, somebody look at this. Like, it was like one of those guy walking backwards through an intersection or something, and you're like, whoa, guys, somebody look at this. Yeah. What's going on? I can't remember what it was. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. I went to the bank to drop off my rent money into my account. So I go inside the branch instead of pulling in to the drive-through on the branch. And on my way in, there's a person parked in front of where you drive through for the ATM. And they're standing outside their car using the ATM while standing there. And the car is like to their left, like before they would have pulled in. And then as I'm going in, they get in their car and drive through the section. So it's not blocked. They just chose to do it while standing instead of being in the car. So, and when I come out, the next person's doing the same thing. And I go to the driveway and they pull through the thing. I'm like, what is happening? Like,
maybe
who's
you've
telling
always done
them?
it wrong.
Yeah, maybe I'm the fucking asshole.
That is
but
very
it's one of those things you're just like, okay, hold on.
Maybe the first person has like a medical condition so that they can't like turn that way with their shoulders or like a neck or.
Well, at first it was like a pickup truck. It was like a big truck, right? So I was like, well, maybe he's just not comfortable pulling it through because it's one of those where it's like the beams on both sides. It's like a small channel. Well, maybe he's not comfortable getting his truck in there because he's a dumbass about a huge pickup truck. But then he pulls through it, and I'm like, okay, well now I'm lost. Maybe it was too high or something, and he want to reach down for the buttons. I was like, whatever. But then the next person's just driving like a Ford Focus and doing the exact same thing. So maybe she watched the other person do it. And then it was like, oh, clearly you have to get out of the car. And it was just like, what is happening?
It is customary in this country to get out and use your ATM by foot.
Yeah. Now, I live in a nice area, so I doubt anybody would ever get robbed at an ATM, but like that's literally like what you see in like sketch comedy is like they get out of their car to use the ATM and get robbed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just weird. Have you seen those shows where it's like hidden camera shows and they're like, we're going to do like a social experiment? It's like you're in a waiting room and every time they call someone's name, everyone stands up. And so 9 of the 10 people in the room are plants. And so they call a person's name and 9 of them stand up. So the 10th person's like socially pressured to do it, but then nobody comments on it. And then slowly new people come in and the plant people get called, but everyone keeps doing it. And then eventually nobody's a plant. Everyone's an actual person and they all do it just forever now. It's just a thing that happens now. And they're just seeing if they can cause shit like that to happen.
Another really funny one, if you've ever seen it, is they did it with elevators. Because it's just always customary to look towards the door of an elevator, just kind of weird.
Oh yeah, stand backwards.
Yeah, and so people will they'll let one person in the elevator, and then a bunch of plants will walk in and and then look directly at the back of it, and then you just watch to see how long it takes the person to slowly turn around, and they do. They very slowly just rotate 180 degrees, and then they'll do even more stuff where all 4 of the people in the elevator with the single person will just kind of mosey to the other side, just look directly into like the right of the elevator, and then the person will slowly like conform. It's really bizarre how consistently the people will feel really intensely like they need to conform to what everybody else is doing.
Arthur, can you lift your mic up a bit? You're getting some airflow.
Okay.
I need to give an update. I did watch Midnight Mass. I was told by someone to check that one out because I liked Hill House and I like those kind of movies, those kind of shows. Pretty good if you liked Hill House and you like those things. I watched The Fall of House of Usher as well. That was really good. I will say Midnight Mass was very religious-y. It was very,
I would imagine.
Yeah. Like, to the point of, like, all the songs and all the hymns and, like, everything were just, like, dumping on you. Like, heaps and heaps and heaps. And I think it was supposed to be creepy, but, like, my ex was a Catholic, and, like, I've heard all of it. Like, I've had to do that for a while. And I'm just like, this is really gratuitous. Like, this is just annoying. Then they're vampires, so it's cool. It's like, whatever. But, like, I give the show a B. It's probably the one that I've liked the least of the series of those type shows. Worth watching if you like those type shows.
I got an update as well. I finally got around to watching the latest season of The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. I watched both of those back to back because I watched Mandalorian and I was like, oh my god, it's so good. Star Wars is so good. I love Mandalorian so much.
Yeah.
But Ahsoka's right here. I want to do some more Star Wars. Let's do it. And I watched Ahsoka and I was like, ugh, can I just go back to Mandalorian? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back there where it's warm because the Ahsoka feels cold. I don't enjoy it.
I thought Ahsoka was fine, but Mandalorian was very good.
Yeah.
I need to watch that season again. The last season, I really wasn't paying attention.
Oh, the thing about that last season that blew me... it didn't blow me away. I was just very pleased and surprised. Is something they had set up, clearly from the very beginning, is that the show was not about the Mandalorian, but about Mandalorians in general. The funnel got wider and wider through the first 2 seasons, and then with Boba Fett, with Boba Fett, the weird season 2.5, which is the last 3 episodes of the Boba Fett series for some reason, were just Din Djarin's series. But anyway, as the funnel got wider and included more characters, I expected, the Mandalorian, Din, to be the central character of the 3rd season, and he was going to take a lot of leadership roles with the Mandalorians. And I thought it was really interesting that they just decided to make all the Mandalorians important. It became an ensemble show, and it was just about everybody. And I thought that was fascinating. I thought it was a really awesome choice, and it became so much better than what I thought was going to happen, which is the cop-out, which is, Din gets all the leadership and all the responsibility, and then he has to, manage that, and that's the plot arc. But it wasn't. It was about all of them working together to do something. I thought that was a smart, interesting idea, much better than any other Star Wars plot I've seen in a long time. It's very good.
On the Disney Plus train, have you guys watched Loki?
No, I haven't.
I have not.
Not yet.
Okay. No
I'm
spoilers.
waiting for Sarah because she really liked the first season with me, so we're gonna watch.
Yeah. No spoilers. I really like season 2. It felt like it was less about trying to confuse you and more about going somewhere, and I'm pretty excited.
Is it over? Or did the season get finished?
The last episode came out.
Okay.
But I don't ever look that shit up because I avoid spoilers, and so when it stops giving me episodes is when the season is over for me. And I think if there was going to be another episode, it comes out tomorrow. So, because me and Zach watched the last one at Warfair weekend. But yeah, it's pretty cool. No spoilers, so it's Loki, so you can't really say anything.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I liked it.
Good. Sarah loves that character in the MCU. She's just my wife. She thinks it's the coolest character in the MCU by far. And I might agree with her. It might be the best MCU character. One of the best, at least. For sure.
So you're super excited about Captain Marvel? The new movie?
Yeah. I wish I could be. I really do.
I know.
Because I actually like Ms. Marvel in the comic series. I love Captain Marvel in the comics. I really, really want this movie to impress me. I'm actually going to I think I'm going to take my daughter to it because she really loved the Ms. Marvel series. And so this may be one of her first MCU feature films. It'll be her first one. I want to see if she can handle just the Captain Marvel one and see how she does. But I'm excited to do that with her, but because she really liked Ms. Marvel. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to enjoy it for that reason, and I'm going to just hold my breath and let her enjoy it. If I can't stand it, we'll see.
Yeah.
I watched 2 movies I've been meaning to watch for a while today. I watched The Intern with Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro, I think is his name.
That's real good.
That
I like
sounds right.
that one.
It is very good. I've seen a bunch of clips on like Facebook videos and stuff, and so I knew it was going to be good, but I really did enjoy it. And then the other one was Hidden Figures with
I never saw that.
Hidden Figures is
Kevin
good.
Costner? Yeah, it's very good. Same thing. I'd seen clips of it, so I knew it was a good movie, but I finally got around to actually sitting through it.
I don't know what genre of that is. We were talking about, like, we always do our movie thing. I don't know what
Yeah.
genre it is where it's like,
I think they're both kind of just like feel good movies.
Yeah. feel good, I
Like,
guess. But they
one
also
of them
take
is
a really...
obviously civil rights movement stuff going on during the space race, so like it's a little bit more political and like meaningful. The other one's just like a feel good movie about people.
Speaking of historical something, I actually saw something the other day, and it made me think of you, Aaron, and I was just curious. Have you
That was
ever
not my left butt cheek. It was someone else's. I'm sorry.
Good. Have you, in your experience in the Air Force, did you ever get to fly a B-52 Stratofortress? Is that something you ever got to fly? I was just curious.
No.
Okay. The reason I asked is I heard this amazing story about how when they were testing it, the tail, like the entire tail, sheared off due to turbulence. Turbulence sheared the top part of the tail, not the entire back of the plane, but just the top tail off. And they lowered the landing gear to give them some stability, and they flew the thing like 500 miles without a tail.
The top section of the tail, you mean?
The top section, yes.
Yeah.
The stabilizing agent, the vertical one, the vertical section. And that blew me away. I was like, I cannot imagine flying something that big with that much power, that fast, without that kind of stability. But it worked, and it's still being used. They're thinking of commissioning it in 2050. It'll be used for 100 years.
Yeah, it is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But that's part of the reason they're still using them, because when you build things in the 1950s, they fucking worked.
Right.
They didn't have like
They
a 10-year
over-engineered
lifespan
everything,
that everything has now.
Mm-hmm. So I was curious, it was such a ubiquitous craft, I didn't know if you ever got to fly one or if you got to experience that.
Thankfully, no.
Thankfully? Is it like, were they... Well, why would you say thankfully?
Because it's made in 1950. It's not
Oh, okay.
comfortable. It's not.
Oh.
It's not anything. And you'd be interested to go even to some of the newer planes. It's not exactly luxury.
Mm-hmm.
It's very Spartan. Think military.
Right.
Comfort be damned. Everything has to have a use.
In case the vertical tail shears off and you gotta fly it.
That's right.
It's gotta be, everything's gotta be
It's randomly.
useful.
I think the most impressive story like that was the one about the F-15, where they were doing a training exercise. They had a midair collision, and it sheared off the right wing of the F-15. And so it's like, I don't know if you guys know what F-15 looks like. I'm sure Aaron does. It's the very blocky fighter that we had.
Right.
And so the wings are very short, and so they just completely lost the right wing. They're going to an uncontrolled dive, and then eventually the pilot is getting it straightened out, and the co-pilot keeps telling him we should just bail out and let the plane go down. And so he eventually gets it straightened out, and he's like, okay, I think we can make it to the nearest airfield. So he's flying, and the whole time he's like, are you sure you don't want to just eject? And the guy's like, no, we're just going to land the plane. Calm the fuck down. So he gets the plane on the runway, and he opens the canopy, he stands up and looks to his right, and for the first time sees the damage to the plane, and just the entire right wing is missing. He's like, why did you let us land? He's like, I fucking told you we should eject. Like,
holy shit, I'm looking at it. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's insane. And so they told, I think it was Boeing made it. I can't remember who made the F-15, but they told the engineers that it happened, and they reported it back to the manufacturer. And yeah, you can't land the plane with one wing. It doesn't have enough lift to maintain altitude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we did it, so that's kind of your problem now. And so they had to research it for 3 months to figure out how they were able to get it on the ground. Yep. And so they never calculated the lift from the flat bottom of the plane. And so apparently if you calculate the 9 square feet of flat space on the bottom of the plane, it can give you just enough lift to stay in the air.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was always my favorite story.
You got to drop the weight of a wing as well.
Yeah, well also, I mean, you're not carrying full payload anymore.
Yeah, the cumbersome weight of a wing.
Yeah.
And the fuel tank, if they had an exterior fuel tank too, well, it's all gone.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
My other favorite anecdote to tell people that don't know anything about planes is that planes have a liftoff weight and a landing weight. And most people don't know that there's a secondary landing weight, which is always lower than the takeoff weight for most commercial planes. So technically speaking, if you take off in your plane, you cannot immediately land because the weight of the fuel in your plane, which is why they don't overfuel the planes. And so if you have an emergency landing and you need to land immediately, that's why they dump fuel to get under their landing weight.
Because they can't control the plane well enough.
Right, because they need to slow down enough. So if the plane is too heavy, they can't go that slow and stay airborne.
See, that kind of shit makes perfect sense, but you don't think about it until
Yeah,
you're
but you
an
never think
engineer,
about it.
like
It's
trying
always
to solve
weird.
that problem. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and jump into it then. You guys ready?
Sure.
Let's do this.
That wasn't too bad. We did go a little long. I didn't realize how long we had been going for. So let's go ahead and hit the movies, and we'll get out of here. Have I earned the right to go first? Can I go first?
No.
We just need to do it. I don't care.
Please. All right, I'd like to go first then. All right, I'm going first.
Do it.
Casino. I guess we should introduce the segment. We're doing organized crime movies. It doesn't have to be specifically mafia, just movies in which the main characters are doing some sort of organized crime. I'm taking Casino number 1. Next up, let's do Jeremy.
Snatch.
I knew you were going to say something like that. That's the pikey one, right?
Yep. Guy Ritchie.
Like Degs.
Degs. All right, Aaron.
Reservoir Dogs.
Ooh. Reservoir Dogs. Dogs.
Degs.
Degs. We got Parker. You got 2 picks here.
First one, Inception.
Oh, I didn't even consider that one. That's interesting. Inception. All right.
And the second one, Ocean's 13.
Okay. You like 13 more than 11, huh?
I do like 13 more than 11, and it's really
Alright.
just the bad guy. Al Pacino just knocks it out of the park. I love it.
Aaron, we're back to you.
The Usual Suspects.
I thought about that one. I love that Kaiser Sose is basically the inspiration for Red on Blacklist. Because it's literally just who he is. It's like, yes. Jeremy.
The Gentleman.
That was on my list. I love the end of that movie when he's got him in the freezer. It's just like, oh boy, you fucked up, bro.
So good.
Okay. There's a few really good ones left. I just really like this movie, so I'm going to say this one. The American Made. You guys familiar with this one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Tom Cruise. I really like that movie. The whole like first person perspective is great, and it's just a fun movie. Can I say Pulp Fiction here? I can't remember if I've said it before. I wonder if I can search if I've done it.
Pulp Fiction definitely counts, but I don't know if you have done that one. I think I did it, actually, so I think you're fine.
You might have. I'm checking. Pulp Fiction. There'll be... No, Pulp Fiction, Kingsman, Incredibles. That was definitely me. Okay, so I can't do that one. I'm going to go with... Do what?
I said back on my list.
I'm going to go with 7 Psychopaths.
That was a good one.
I really like that movie. It's one of the Christopher Walken movies where he's not playing a caricature, but he's also crazy as fuck. All right, so that's me. Jeremy, we're back to your last pick.
Let's see here. That's what I want. I'm going to go with, so this will be my 3rd Guy Ritchie. I was able to pull it together. Operation Fortune. I'm going all Guy Ritchie movies.
I didn't realize Gentleman was Guy Ritchie.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. Aaron, does this mean you're taking Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Strong. And Parker, I assume this means you're taking Ocean's 12.
No.
Put that in for
I will not. No.
You can't get me twice.
My last... I have 2 car stealing movies. I'm going to go with...
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yes. I'm going to go with Gone in 60 Seconds. Or OG, Angelina Jolie, and Nick Cage.
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. So I have a lot of meat left on the bone here.
Yeah, me too.
So I had Legend with, what's his name? Tom Hardy.
Yep. He plays 2 characters in that one, right? Is that right?
He plays twin brothers, yeah. And then we've got The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the guys coming after him are organized crime. Although they're not. They're just
pretty
kind of
disorganized
tangentially.
crime.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They definitely try and
nihilists,
steal the
Donnie.
ransom.
They believe in nothing. Not even
the
organized
movie's
crime.
so great though.
Yeah.
And then I got The Whole 9 Yards is just fun.
Yeah.
And then Matthew Perry, rip. And then we've got Masterminds, which is, I believe, Zach Galifianakis, where they try and rob their armored car company.
Mine were Fast Five,
Mm-hmm.
because it's the only real.
Yeah, it's a heist movie. Yeah.
And my last 2 were actually comedies that I love. Mickey Blue Eyes, Hugh Grant movie where he marries into a mob family. One of my favorite scenes in all movie history is when they're trying to pass him off as a mobster, and they meet the other mobsters in a gang, like a family gang meeting, and they introduce him to, this is Mickey Blue Eyes. And he goes, Mickey Blue Eyes from Chicago? So, no, this is from Kansas City. You mean little Kansas City Mickey Blue Eyes? So, no, this is big Kansas City Mickey Blue Eyes. He goes, I think big Kansas City Mickey Blue Eyes. And so his full mobster name ends up becoming Little Big Kansas City Mickey Blue Eyes. And they go, oh, okay. They all perfectly accept Little Big Kansas City Mickey Blue Eyes.
Yeah, that's great.
That name was the name of our dog. We had a dog named Little Big Kansas City Mickey Blue Eyes.
That's nice.
It was awesome.
Anybody else have some leftovers?
Yeah, my deep cut was Sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Probably could have looked
Jeremy?
a bunch up, but I'm burned out. I'm done.
Jeremy's done. I only do Guy Ritchie.
Tonight is only Guy Ritchie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to say something awesome like Sky High.
No. Sky High isn't a crime movie.
I know, that's the point. I was just trying to pick something like as far away from that.
No. I'll nail you motherfuckers with Infinity War.
Yeah.
And fight
they
over
just
it.
try to steal the stones.
Yeah.
Hot Shots Part 2.
Oh, God.
Ship it.
Parker, do you know why I love Sky High beyond just Kurt Russell in a superhero movie?
Sure.
Is all the punny names are just, they fucking kill
good.
me. He's like, what's his name? Warren Peace. I'm like,
yeah.
I will fucking kill you. Fought to the death on site.
I didn't mention it in the pre-ramble. I need to mention it now because it's so late. I'll be short about it. The first time you guys picked me movies as a ghost person, I was like, fine, sure, whatever. The second time, nail on the head. I felt so served. I was listening to it.
Scary Movie 2.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was listening to it when I was getting ready for my family meal, and I sat down at the dinner table, and every day we share our favorite part of the day. That's something we do. Each one of us takes turns going around the table, and I knew mine so fast, and it was that my friends know me, and they pick scary movies for me for Halloween.
Now I'm honestly curious, would you have changed anything on the list?
When you switch from Scary Movie 2 to Scary Movie 4, I rate ScaryMovie 2 higher than 4.
Okay, I haven't seen any of them except for one, so that was
better.
Fucking darts.
When you, however, somebody said
didn't want to do 1, 2, 3 because that would have been obviously it was fake,
right? So when one of you guys said, let's switch 3 to 4, and then you went, no. I know that 3 is his favorite fucking movie of all time. And I was like, it is the best movie of all time.
See, I told you.
It does
so you would have preferred 2, 3, 4?
Yes. That would have been the stronger one.
Okay.
One is the weakest.
But I got pretty close.
You did.
Okay.
At 3,
great.
To be fair, anybody listening, Scary Movie 3 is the ostensibly terrible movie. However, it has the single greatest joke of all cinema history in it, and it's in the last 2 minutes of the film. It's amazing. But you guys, it's late. I'm not going to tell you the whole fucking joke.
Yeah. So on a small side note, did you know what did the French chef give to his wife for Valentine's Day?
What did he get?
It was a hug and a quiche.
Not worth it.
Not worth it.
Wrap it up.
I got more.
I'm glad I was here for
Exit stage left.
What did the toaster say to the slice of bread? I want you inside of me.
Oh, that's
oddly,
it's just crude.
Yeah,
That's real gross.
Would you say it's hot? Because it's a toaster.
God, let's go, dude.
That's good. That's good. The follow-up made me like it again.
Okay, there we go. Oh boy! All right, here we go. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Bye.